Good call, Brian.
There
Can't
we
hear
go.
me.
Now I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like Tony's on the show.
Well, the whole beginning I have to do. Everyone, welcome to Tornado Tech Podcast, episode 136. My microphones were turned off. We are here now, but we're gonna get the housekeeping out of the way. But first, we're gonna talk about the history of Jeff Jarrett for our main topic. I had to change it up a little bit.
That's JEFF. JARRET.
Yeah, I added the history of to the to the descriptions because like when we did the Tony Schiavone episode, like you got Tony Schiavone? No, so I should probably
not.
I should add the history of to things in case they're not guests.
Oh, like I said, we're talking about
talking Jeff Jarrett. Maybe we'll come up with something clever. But yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk some current events, some fun stuff like that. We want to thank our guest tonight joining us, Jeff. Welcome back.
Not
Jeff,
Jarrett.
Yeah,
that's JEFF, not JARRE. No T's.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun tonight. First off, we want to thank our Patreon subscribers. So we did add a few more new tiers. So it goes from $1 to $25.
Or more if you want.
Or more. If you want to do $1 billion, I will not be upset about it.
Do they have creative names?
Yeah, so each one is based on
no
creative names. So $1 just gets you a shout out and general support. $5 gets you a shout out, general support, and you can pick a topic for an episode. And then the only thing that changes from $10 up, you are in the running with everybody else for a chance to win a free t-shirt every month. So every month we're going to pick out one person who subscribes more than $10 and we'll send you a free t-shirt, your style, your show, whatever you want, color, the whole nine. But we want to thank Greg Reese. We want to thank Heidi Blackwell. We want to thank Ryan Galato. He is from the Fueled by Hops podcast. So shout out to those guys. Thank you for the support. Kelly from Crystal Mountain Healing, Tommy Borsrath, Tree of Life Metaphysical Shop, Brad Zalonis, Hyreth in Other Words, and Jay Horror. So if you want to be part of the group and support us, first off, thank you guys so much. We lost a bunch of people, then we got a nice little chunk of people back. So thank you guys all so much. That helps us a lot when it comes to paying the bills here and paying for StreamYard and all these other avenues that we're trying to do. So that support means the world. Thank you all so much. Yeah, that's pretty much the housekeeping out of the way. If you want to go check out the website, IWEP Network, we have all that stuff on there. Patreon, find us on all social media, find us on podcast platforms, and then we also have merch page if you want to grab stuff. The new logo, the new banner is officially up. So huge thank you to
was it not up last time?
No.
Oh,
New year, new banner. That's what they say, right?
New year, new us. It is the official start of season 4 of Tornado Tag Podcast. So really excited. Throw up those 4s. Elijah Rogers in the chat already with us tonight.
That's a good name.
Thank you guys.
Rogers.
Yeah, and the like. So thank you so much for the support.
Yes.
If you guys want to chime in or say anything, we will use the live chat to talk to you guys. But let's talk about current events. So we have a little bit of breaking news, Brian.
Well, it's a breaking news that is just a continuation of the news that happened yesterday, where you're seeing a lot of backstage cuts in NXT. Trainers, producers, writers, people like that, not necessarily in-ring talent, although some of them very recently were in-ring talents. So just going back to yesterday, the first one that came out was Road Dogg, who was one of Triple H's top lieutenants in NXT, one of the big producers there, and he has been cut. His brother, Scott Armstrong, also cut, former referee. He's been an agent for a while. The one that really turned everybody's head, William Regal, cut. Absolutely Triple H's right-hand man.
That's crazy.
So there's no GM of NXT right now.
It's anarchy now. And then just running down the list here, Ace Steel, Chris Guy, who was a producer, very good friend of CM Punk's back in the day. I don't know if they're friends now or not.
Yeah, Second City Saints, I believe they were before Colt Cabana, or they had a slightly different name. I forget.
Yeah. Allison Danger, Steve Corino's sister, former wrestler, who was a trainer for the women in NXT, was cut. Ryan Katz, who goes all the way back to XPW and Wrestling Society X. He was a producer. He was creative. He was the promo coach in NXT. He has been cut. He was kind of brought in as Dusty's protege back in like 2004. Dave Kapoor, who I guess was helping out with NXT. He's been a longtime writer. He was Ranjan Singh on TV. He was the Great Khali's manager for a long time. He has been
long sideburns.
Yep, he has been let go. George Carroll, who just started there about a year ago. He was a creative guy in NXT. He had worked with New Japan USA. He had worked with MLW. He was cut. Danny Burch, Timothy Thatcher were both cut. And then Hideki Suzuki. I forget, what was his name? Something Mon. And
he was with
Diamond
Mine. Yeah.
Yeah, like
so I was like, who the hell's that?
I was gonna say Kikoman, but that's a brand of soy sauce. That's not it.
It might be
Hachiman, I think they called him. And
it might be Kikitaru.
I wish they would have hired Kikitaru. That would have been great. But they have all been cut, and then it came out that Gabe Sapolsky, who had been a consultant ever since they bought Evolve, Gabe was Paul Heyman's protege in ECW, worked with their marketing, co-founded Ring of Honor, was their longtime booker. Then went on to found Dragon Gate USA and Evolve.
Short-lived, yeah.
And then they brought him in when they absorbed Evolve. He has been let go. And then just within the last hour or so here, it's come out that Samoa Joe has been cut once again.
Release, come back,
Unbelievable.
release again.
Yeah, he lost the title and then said he was going to take a break or something. Remember that?
Yeah.
And that was it.
Well, didn't he say he got hurt again during? Or he had?
Well, he
Yeah, or
did
something.
get hurt again. That's why he vacated the title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Then he worked backstage, and he just recently said he was very
Mhm.
happy with his backstage role with NXT, and now
Vince never liked him. You don't know why? He's fat.
Yeah, but Yokozuna wasn't.
Yeah. Dusty
Yeah.
Rhodes. But Vince hated Dusty.
I mean, he just resigned. I'm not
I'm not making
body
sense out
shaming,
of
but
it.
Kevin
Yeah.
Owens isn't fucking
No,
Brock Lesnar.
yeah. I know.
Yeah.
They want. They's like, oh,
I mean, if
you're
you're-
AEW.
If you want to train people, and they have like one of those college people they signed with those future deals. I forget what they're called now. One of the people they signed is this guy who's a football player, but he's like 7 feet tall and 400 pounds. You want to you want somebody in wrestling right now to teach people to work like a big guy? Samoa Joe is the guy you want.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could do a lot more small.
Wait, how big is he?
About 7 feet tall, and I think he's built at 400 pounds.
Well, you can't teach that
You
according
can't.
to big Cash, right?
Yeah, very true.
You can teach 400 pounds.
Or is that
7 feet you
Enzo?
can't
Enzo
teach.
used to say that.
Well,
and
they
you
brought up
can't
both of 'em.
teach that.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Just like how good was fucking NXT, and it's just like let's just throw it all away.
Yeah.
Just fucking throw it all
That
in the
lost
trash.
the war, so let's
Mhm.
make it horrible now.
Yeah.
Because that will make people watch it.
I actually
I-
thought superstar Billy Graham was behind the scenes when I saw the tie-dye stuff. Not that I'm a tie-dye fan.
They did just re-sign him. They did just re-sign Superstar Graham to some kind of Legends deal. Like,
Oh,
it's
wow.
really-
Wow.
Really?
They
There
need
you go.
bodies for the video games now. All-
Yeah, they
are
don't have
people.
anybody. But the superstar. in
It's
the
a
video
13
game. Wow.
person roster, and then the rest are gonna be all legends because they have no one else.
At least they'll be able to focus on the remaining people that are there.
You,
though.
you would hope. It's the same four
I
people.
thought that the booking on Raw and SmackDown has been pretty solid. They started doing what they did in the Attitude Era, where it looks like even like the lower program guy, the lower card guys are getting storylines.
Interesting. I personally have not watched it week to week. I may have to. I'll have to check it out again, but it's tough, man. So day one happened. We'll
That happened.
We'll
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah,
segue into
okay.
this. Overall match wasn't awful.
I didn't watch
It wasn't an
I
awful
noticed
show.
But Roman tested positive before it,
Mhm.
so he was out. Rock added to the match. As soon as they said that, I said he's winning the title.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
You knew that.
Yeah,
then
Brock
he-
wasn't losing to
And then
those
he
guys.
pins Big E
yeah, the champion
out of
had
everybody.
a terrible
Pins
run.
Penny.
Oh,
Big
there's
E
that
clean.
awful photo of Biggie just sitting
Yeah.
by the ring, all depressed, like, and everybody's making a meme out of it. I'm like, oh, come on, just leave the guy alone. He keeps
Now,
getting screwed over.
The only interesting thing about this title run is this is babyface Brock.
It's good guy, which is probably the best thing they have right now. The Brock and Roman story. And Brock, I mean, what's better than that in WWE?
Yeah.
Nothing.
It's just how much are we getting Brock on TV?
Well,
Is he going to be
he did-
weekly? Is
He
gonna
did
be...
day one, and they did Raw and SmackDown. So it was a rare
Yeah,
triple appearance.
And he's
Wow.
been pretty
And-
good on the mic by
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah, this
Listen-
upcoming SmackDown too is the very for the first time in a long time that SmackDown is sold out. Like a TV show is sold out
Wow.
legit.
Yeah. He was taking photos with fans
I
on,
know,
the way, on the way
yeah.
back. Like that is intriguing.
It's a new not the word I want demographic, but it's a new whatever, and I like it.
yeah.
It's pretty cool. But then like who's gonna beat him? Like and Roman has his belt, so no one's gonna. And they fired all the people that could possibly beat him. So.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll have a unification.
That's what everyone's
Maybe,
saying at
yeah.
WrestleMania. I think that would be wise because you don't have as many people. 2 shows, same roster, no more split, unified
Yeah.
belts.
I think
Either that
you
or something
unify them
happens.
all.
At the,
Yep.
Every title, even the women's title.
Yeah.
I was going to say that'll hurt the women's division though.
Charlotte wins them all.
Yeah.
Even
I think if you unify the women's title, you have to make a secondary women's title. I think you have to make like some type of
Like
like
a
women's
mid-card, yeah.
intercontinental or women's US or something, or you just call it something else. But there has to be, if you're going to unify the women's title, you have to make a secondary one. I know you don't give a shit about your women's division, but
no,
I
I just meant one champion to rule them all.
Yeah. One ring. or-
One ring,
Yeah.
one ring.
like just a Lucha Underground, like the main title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That
that would be
looked
the
awesome.
24/7 title.
Oh god.
Yeah, anyone can win that one. That's a
That's like what would you do if you're in charge and booking the next day? And like, well, that belt's gone. We gonna explain it? Nope.
yeah. Roman got COVID, and then Brock went around hugging fans. That's very true. And every fan in the attendance, not a mask in sight.
Yeah, COVID ain't stopping Brock Lesnar. Diverticulitis didn't stop Brock Lesnar. He ain't worried. Let's go to the woods and shoot stuff.
Heidi seen his promo when he was on TV or when he was on day one, and she goes, "What's up with his teeth?" Because he has like
little teeth.
the little
Little baby teeth.
Yeah, and then they're like divoted in.
Yeah.
I was like, he just eats fucking raw animals, like right off the bone. He's an animal.
And corn on the cob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that match was pretty good though.
It
good.
was
Main event.
it was spot fest.
Yeah, it was like a video game where everyone has the finishers.
It's exactly what it
Yeah.
was, except a 4-way match.
The first
Hi,
match
Blake.
on the show, the Usos, and
Nusos and New Day killed it.
that was a great match.
But like, how many times can you fucking see that?
I mean,
Like,
when-
I
when
They're
they
all
went to
good,
tag
yeah, but
teams-
it's a little samey, but they're all really good.
Yeah, it's like New
those two
Japan,
teams are
like-
incredible.
yeah, it was an
the match is a
awesome
little
tag team
stale.
match.
yeah, that was really good. RK was that same show? RK Bro versus Street Profits. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't all right. It was all
I
right.
don't like they gotta break up the Street Profits and make the skinny guy the heel.
Montez Ford.
Because their guys, I don't know. He's wailing Montez down.
Yeah,
He's
really good.
He is Angelosaurus is what I would call him.
Angelo Solar.
He's super talented.
Montez.
Yeah, they should.
Montez
Yeah.
Ford.
Montez Ford
they
is
should-
very good.
They should have a power couple with him and Bianca. I mean, they're.
Yeah.
I mean, both of them are so good.
What do they call his Sky High or something? He's like from
Yeah.
the Scott from the heavens or something. His,
Something
he
like
gets so
that.
high with his splash.
Becky versus Liv. Good match. I
Did anyone in the world think Liv was gonna win?
thought
Nope.
at first.
Really?
Yeah, I thought so at
I
first.
didn't-
You didn't?
No way.
No,
Yeah.
I was like, there's no.
So
way she's winning.
I'm really big into like trying to like figure out psychology or trying to read people.
Uh-huh.
And when Liv first came down, she already looked like she was gonna cry, and I was like, is she giving it like when Bianca came down and she couldn't contain the
Yeah.
fact that she knew she was walking out of their champion, and just the gratitude of the moment of everything going on was very interesting. And Liv was kind of in the same boat, and the entire match she couldn't wipe it off her face. But can you get her out of the kitchen? That'd be awesome.
If you want to
He's
see
standing there in a full coat, like,
Yeah.
if
And
you want to
then,
see something like that, fire up Peacock and bring up SummerSlam 2016. There's a match between Sasha Banks and Charlotte for the women's title,
Mhm.
and Sasha Banks has the worst case of "I'm dropping the belt" face you will ever see in your
Yeah.
life.
But I-
Randy Orton does that a lot too.
Yeah, but I guess Liv was just, in the moment of just the fact that she's main eventing a pay-per-view, which is exciting. but-
maybe. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not main event.
Not the main event.
I mean, as for her, it's a title
Yeah,
shot.
It's a title shot.
Yeah, but I mean, you're looking at a girl who was a third runner in the fucking stable for most of her career. and
Yeah.
she can't break out anywhere.
You're looking more at she was just grateful to be on a pay-per-view and
Yeah.
the slot she was.
I thought she put a good match on.
Well, I
I
mean,
thought it was-
Rolling
I
has
didn't-
4 women, so they had to do something, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There was a spot, I think, at one of the manias where she had to lift a table and slide it in the ring. She couldn't lift it. I never forget.
I think
that.
I remember. that.
Yeah. What else we got in the chat here? We got Mario. I think Ciampa is one of the is a crazy enough character that is believable for him to challenge Brock.
He's a little small.
Yeah, a little small. I would watch it, but they'll never do it. Vince will look at Ciampa and say he's too small.
I hope
He's
Liv
too
wins the
small, he's got
Rumble.
a gray beard.
And
Long time with Bailey. Where is Bailey? Maybe Bailey comes back wins. the
Bailey
Rumble.
is my odds-on favorite for the Women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
I think so too. I think she comes back in the Rumble. Did she come back babyface or heel?
well, people are gonna cheer no matter what, but they
Yeah.
knowing WWE,
That's
the
a good
tiebreaker heel.
question.
I keep her heel. I thought she was awesome as a heel.
I
She's
wouldn't
the
because
goat.
Bailey's good, period.
goat,
Bailey can do
that's-
anything.
That's
Yeah.
right.
aren't both the women's champions heels right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd make Bailey good.
Bailey
Didn't she have something with Seth Rollins like before she got hurt, where they started kind of appearing together in the ring?
Yeah. They were doing like a. What if that's like a little triple stable with Seth Rollins, Bailey, and Kevin Owens just being like heel goofballs?
I'm okay with it.
Fucking sign me up for that. I'll turn in I will watch programming on TV if that's the case.
That's guaranteed not to happen. then.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's too good to happen.
It's too
WWE.
good.
Yeah.
It's their writers.
WWE's like, wait, that would be funny. Let's not do that.
Let's not do that.
Yeah.
No.
AJ re-signed a big deal, so he's officially
Oh,
back.
did he? I
Yeah.
didn't see that.
And then
AJ
he got
Styles.
squashed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ugh.
Wait, AJ signed a new deal?
Yeah, I didn't see that.
that's what they said. He supposedly he re-signed.
Yeah, like
That's
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they said. He restructured or something, or he's said he's
Okay.
doing long term. I don't know.
I didn't hear anything.
I know he's
Oh.
wrestling on NXT next week.
Yeah, but I know he was locked up for a few years though.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was on.
Unless
He
they
signed like a
just-
5-year extension, so he's under contract for a while.
Yeah.
He's the best, and he's giving back, and he's jobbing, and he's
He is the
not
best.
complaining. He's awesome.
Yeah,
It's a waste of him right now, but
It's
Brock
a
is
point-
kind of a tweener. I'm looking up on the screen here. Mario, women's and men's world champions are all heel. I guess Brock is kind of a heel now, and Lashley is the babyface in that feud. I will not be surprised if Bobby Lashley wins at the Royal Rumble. By the way,
oh yeah, I can see that.
yeah.
That's the money match.
If the final four will be him.
Well, you're getting it without the Royal Rumble. That's
no.
actually happening at-
Lashley's wrestling Lesnar at the Rumble. I will
Yeah,
not. Be
it's
surprised if
Lashley
he beats
versus
Lesnar.
Yeah, so it doesn't even have to be in the Rumble. Both of them are
Oh.
wrestling 1-on-1 at
or
Wrestle.
there's like some screwy finish, and then he
Yeah,
challenges.
Roman costs Lesnar the
Yeah,
title.
yeah, I can see that.
Lesnar jumps in and wins the Rumble, challenges Roman, something like
Something
that.
like
Yuck.
that.
I would fucking hate
Yeah,
that.
I know. Or the other way around, where Bobby Lashley loses the match and then gets in the Rumble. I don't like when that happens.
I don't like it either.
I like
but
you have the title match, you're not in the Rumble.
Here's
Yeah.
the thing:
That's-
is there
that's-
anyone besides like your big four who are you can see them putting the title? Around?
No.
And that
Is there 30 guys to put in the Rumble?
that's a thing
yeah,
too.
but there's not 30 women apparently. There's going to be a lot of NXT and women
There isn't.
legends. They do not have 30 women on the
There's
Raw
about
and SmackDown rosters.
between Raw and SmackDown, there's probably maybe 10.
Maybe they'll use like scab wrestlers, like
Yeah.
they did with the football league.
And then if you add the NXT women, you're probably up to about 20. Maybe
You'll
18.
get your like Jillian Halls
Yeah,
and
they have
Beth
to.
Phoenix will be in there. Maurice will be in
Victoria.
there.
Do you think? I know this is. We'll probably touch more on this when Rumble comes closer. But do you see any outside people making debuts in the Rumble this year? Like
You
any,
call-
One-offs, yeah.
or no,
yeah.
I'm saying like brand new signee that you didn't even know they
Oh,
signed.
probably not.
No,
I
who's
have-
out there?
Yeah,
I have
who's
one.
out there?
So
that
no
they,
Big Swole. You
Big
don't think
Swole.
Big Swole?
I don't think they're gonna pick her. up.
No,
You don't think so?
No.
Nobody would
I-
care.
Yeah.
But I mean, the only people you could sign for that surprise return are people they got rid of, like
Yeah.
Bray. Okay, you could bring
Yeah.
back Bray, maybe.
Yeah,
You could bring back
Braun.
Braun Strowman.
Maybe that's why they released all those, so they can bring him back.
For
as
a big
surprise
pop.
guests.
Oh my
They're like,
god.
our merch is
Jeff Hardy.
They're like, merch is down. We need
Hey,
it.
we're
back."
not gonna pay you for a year, but when you come back, you're gonna get a big pop.
They're making a big deal out of that North Carolina show. Just saying for AEW, North Carolina. Jarrett.
that's
Jeff
next
Hardy.
week,
Yeah,
right?
Jeff Hardy. Just saying.
I don't think so.
He's still under his non-compete. That's not happening.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true. I forgot about that. Yeah. I think that's a town he debuts in though. I think it comes back in.
Well,
North
if they
Carolina.
could, yeah, any of the Carolinas, yeah. But
Jeff Hardy's one of those guys where give credit for him for one thing. I'm not the biggest Jeff Hardy fan, but he is beloved.
yeah,
Like he has always gotten a reaction that is bigger than his push,
Mm-hmm.
and no matter where they debut him, he is going to do well.
Listen, the Hardy Boys, every single time they're outside the WWE's marketplace and they're allowed to do whatever they want creatively and freedomly, it's always been entertaining.
Especially Matt.
it has been. But I mean,
Matt's been-
look at Matt now.
Yeah, Matt's hard to watch now. I like after he said it, I looked at it. I'm like, oh man, he is real stiff working.
He looks like he's in pain. That's why like
Yeah.
the broken stuff is so good. He didn't have to wrestle as much.
right.
Because
Yeah.
it was literally broken.
Yeah,
when, they
yeah.
were, when they were younger, that they were the matches I wanted to
Yeah.
see.
Just,
you know,
just
they
put
were
him
my
there with
guys.
Jeff and do a
I mean,
couple spots here and there. I
yeah,
mean, Sting is
Jeff
going out
can
there
do
killing
most.
it.
Yeah, Jeff can do most of it. So
When they made their return at WrestleMania a few years ago, I'd never seen a pop like that in my entire
Exploded.
life by any wrestler ever in any arena. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was fucking nuts. So I don't know. I think that's something to look forward to. But we had three AEW shows since last time. We had the two, what are they, dark elevator
Rampage?
rampages, and
Rampage.
then the main show that just happened, the debut of TBS.
yeah.
Dynamite on TBS.
We'll just kind of skim through.
But you know what I hate about that? Beforehand, that fucking
Big Bang.
oh,
Theory.
that's
Yeah.
all.
I
I
I
hate
can't
that fucking
stand it
show.
either. Oh my
Like,
god, I can't
TNT
either.
would play
No, no.
movies. I
Yeah,
watched the end of
yeah,
movie for
me
5
too.
minutes. I
I-
watched no fucking Big Bang.
No,
Theory.
I watched it. I'm like, oh no, it's Big Bang.
Yeah.
Just turn it
I-
off.
I
put something
need-
on YouTube
I need-
on quick.
I need Anna Kendrick cutting up a painting before I can watch AEW. That's what I need.
Oh, and the one night, I forget what it is. I think it was whatever was on Wednesday was like 2 hours of Big Bang Theory,
I think that
2
was
hours of Young Sheldon, and then 2 more hours of Big Bang Theory. And like, oh,
Yeah, the
TV
way they divide it up is TBS is their comedy channel, TNT is their drama channel.
Okay.
yeah,
They need to bring back movies for guys who like movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TV has gotten really weird where they like, all right, we know this show works.
Yeah, so it's a marathon.
And so every like 80% of our TV's catalog is going to be reruns of that one show.
And I love that people love that show, but people who love that show usually aren't very nerdy either.
No,
Like,
it's
that's
a
the
show that
worst thing.
insults nerdy people.
Yeah.
I watched that show. I started watching it in like the middle of the 5th season, whatever, and we watched it religiously for like 6 months,
Ugh.
and then we never watched it again. And to this day, I've never watched it again.
I-
So
I watched
I can't.
I watched the first 2 episodes. I'm like, it's the same joke over and over again, and I never watched another
And that
episode.
laugh track is
Oh, God
offensively bad
Yes.
and in your face.
It is.
It's
All right,
like,
well,
Kelly Kawako is very attractive.
yeah,
so-
she's very
Yeah.
hot.
Let's,
That's the only
But
redeeming
she's actually
factor.
very good. She had a show on HBO called The Flight Attendant. Excellent.
is good.
A
The
total
Flight Attendant is good.
recommendation for
She's a
anybody.
great, she's a great Harley Quinn in the voice acting too. But
Mhm.
all right, let's
But
get real quick.
the
Thank you
the
guys
real
so much
thing, though-
real fast, Brian. Thank you everyone for joining in the chat. I will get everyone's thing up.
Is that a Russian name?
That's a bot on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for typing. Brittany said I was crying when the Hardy Boys came back. So yeah,
Okay.
it was a cool moment. Thank you guys so much for joining the chat. This is
I was crying when I had to
absolutely
watch The Big Bang Theory.
yes. But debut of TBS. We start off the show with
Debut
the
of Dynamite on TV.
Yeah, debut of Dynamite on TBS. We got our first match, which is Hangman Page versus Daniel
Fantastic.
Bryanson or Brian Danielson.
Yo, you're getting there. Other
We'll
people do
call
that
him
too.
Dragon for short.
I've heard other people say Daniel Bryanson.
Yeah.
That's when he goes
The
to
American Dragonson.
when he goes to another wrestling company.
Yeah.
We thought we were gonna
I
be-
caught myself saying Daniel Bryan too.
I do it
was
all
like,
the time.
"Ugh."
We didn't get really much of a big payoff when it came to the judges. We were like, oh, who could these judges
The
be?
judges thing was like
No.
an afterthought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just kept cutting them.
It was good to see
Yeah.
Jerry Lynn again.
Yeah.
At one time, I thought Big Show was asleep because he was like this.
He was right now.
I was.
He's very astute.
Did you not see that one?
Yeah.
Where the Big Show has not been on TV in what? 2 months? 3
Yeah.
months?
Yeah. Unless
thi-
he's on Elevation or something that I'm
He
not watching.
supposedly does commentary on one of them, but I'm not
He
sure.
made a big
He was
deal that
supposed
he
to do it on
wants
Elevation.
he wants to jump in the commentary role. That's been the whole thing.
Yeah,
for
so
him.
that's what he's
I
doing
always-
on
I always
Elevation.
want to do commentary. I'm like, you are 900 feet tall.
Yeah. You just-
Speaking of
on.
Elevation,
Yeah.
we do know some people that are going to be on this upcoming episode. We had Avery Good had another match on Elevation.
Good for him.
Action Andretti from PPW was on Elevation.
Mhm.
Becca from Camp Leapfrog was on Elevation. And what's Notorious Mimi, also from PPW.
Notorious
on
Mimi's
Elevation.
been killing
she had
it.
a few on there.
She's everywhere.
Yeah, she said a few, yeah.
She's been
I
killing
believe
it,
her and Becca are teaming on the upcoming
okay.
Elevation.
Oh wow. Yeah, so we finally got our payoff. We finally got a finish to a championship match that involves Brian Danielson. Is that the first time he's bled like on TV ever? Like, did he ever bleed in WWE? Like even the hard way?
Not
Yeah, I
not
want to say no.
intentionally. Probably
No.
he might have got hard weighed once or twice.
Yeah.
As soon as they did the post spot, I'm like, he's blading.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's a cat hit his head, and then
Mhm.
whenever the camera doesn't show the wrestler that just took the move, and they just show the guy in the ring,
Mhm.
then yeah, they're doing a
Yeah.
good job.
Um,
I thought the match was fantastic. He's,
Or
getting-
you-
he's getting
or
in
you're
a
Steve
5-star
Austin,
match.
you just cut yourself right in front of the hard cam.
Yeah, burp. And
then
then I was gonna say the camera guy shoots it. This run is gonna be his best stuff ever when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
It's like my AW run was the height of my career.
mhm.
I mean, it's like the ROH stuff was good. A lot of stuff was good in WWE, but it's spread out.
I just
I
think,
think he would throw his winning the championship at WrestleMania
Yeah,
in there.
But I mean, like this is what
Well, yeah, I mean-
what's the AW talk.
Mhm.
Wait
When
till-
he
wait
looks
till he-
back,
Yeah.
when he looks back, he's gonna look back at WWE. Finally, he met his wife there. He
Yeah.
became a
Like a lot of
superstar
good
there. He's gonna
stuff
look
there,
back
yeah.
at it.
wait till he wins the New Japan Championship.
Maybe it's a long shot. Speaking of
His match against Brock was great.
yeah, it was.
That was
It
a dream match at the time for me. Before it happened, I was like, I want to see Daniel and Brock Lesnar. And the
Mm.
match was awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of Wrestle Kingdom happened, Okada beat Shingo, won the world title, and then he defended successfully against Will Ospreay. And Tanahashi won the United States title, beat Kenta.
So
A lot of filler on them.
now the title is unified. Like there's no,
Yes, there's one.
Are they still using the old? The
No,
new title?
Here's the bad
no.
one.
No, Okada kept up the crappy one.
The
It's like-
eagle
Yeah,
one.
the one that looks like robotic. And it's like,
one that
well,
looks
your
like
whole
Cody's
thing was
tattoo.
you brought the old one back. Yeah.
Oh.
And it's like, use the fucking old one. That's what everybody wants. So New Japan still. I don't
It's
know.
not red though, is it?
No, it's not
Okay.
right. That's
No.
the United States title. is.
What was our second match there on that card? I'm trying to think. Just trying to think.
There was a job match. There was the MJF Punk segment.
It was
which
MJF
fantastic.
Punk.
Oh, there was
yeah,
a
that
lot
of-
was
Dean, yeah.
fantastic.
There was a lot of segments this show.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of promos.
It was a good show. It was a very good show.
We got a new champion with TBS title with Jade. Congratulations, but I'm
Not ready.
Not ready.
No.
That
Wait,
match
Little
was
green,
not.
little
What's going to
green.
happen? Yeah, because you see a lot of times Ruby, they're going to need people that are really good to carry her through the match.
Right.
It's like
Not
look,
everybody's going to want to carry her all the time.
yeah, and not everyone can.
No.
I'm like, what if she wrestled Penelope Ford? Like, not against her, but
Yeah, she
it better be a minute.
she has a very high chance. Of
Like you
getting
could tell
exposed.
she's like, what do I do? Oh, okay.
How about
And
that
it's like,
finish spot where
Yeah, she-
Ruby's like, I'm just gonna fall forward.
Yeah, well, she tried to go to the top rope and do it, but
Mhm.
like
Yeah, I
she
seen
knew
that.
she couldn't do it.
Do
Like,
it.
That's
So
too
then
much.
she went back down.
Mhm.
And no one said, "Hey, don't do that."
Well,
They should
Ruby
play
was
that.
telling
Ruby was
her.
They
like,
should
yeah.
play that into a gimmick for
Yeah,
her.
yeah. Ruby
Yeah.
was saying like, "Okay, go." It's like,
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
she
I
could
could
stop
see-
and pretend she's looking at her hand as a cheat sheet.
It's like, yeah, she looks awesome, but it's like the Warrior. The Warrior looked awesome,
Yeah,
but he couldn't wrestle at all.
she has everything you need. She has a manager, so she doesn't know how to talk. She has
Yeah.
everything. Like she has everything she needs to be successful. And
10 looks, 0 in wrestling talent.
I would say 0,
Maybe 1.
but I'd give her at least a 5. But it's
5?
not enough to be a world champ.
What do you Goldberg?
3, but she's also very new and can get
Yeah,
better.
yeah.
Yeah. She can
Um,
get better, but I just don't think
I
it was
hope
the
she
right
gets
move
better.
to build her as undefeated and right into a championship.
Yeah,
I mean, she's a great look. Like she's a great look, and I love her that she looks kind of like China. Reminds me of China, but China wasn't built like this and wasn't booked like this either.
Yeah.
Here's
took a
the
long
thing with that
time.
for me, though. Tony Khan has earned my trust, and I'm going to see where this goes because I trust him to tell a good story.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Tony
Uh,
Khan has earned the right to tell this story
Well,
and
it
any
looks-
other story.
It looks like Ruby's gonna immediately jump right back in against Britt Baker again,
Yeah,
which is
yeah, that's
which
good.
I think Ruby deserves a fucking title in her career, at least on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
but I
She'll,
would put-
she'll get the TBS title at some point.
Yeah,
I don't think she's taking the title off of Britt. I think it's going to be Thunder Rosa,
yeah,
and it should be Thunder Rosa. But she'll get the TBS title
and she'll
eventually.
be a women's champion
God,
one
not
day too.
Rio.
Here's one thing I will say about AEW that's doing really well too, and Jeff was saying about WWE doing it very well now, is even if you're not in a title hunt, they're putting story packages together that makes it like we're going to see Mercedes Martinez and Thunder Rosa.
Yeah,
Like fucking sign me up for that. You don't need a title involved. They can just go fucking kill each other for a month and give us good packaging. I'll take that all day long. You got Chris Statlander and that real tiny girl.
legit Leia Hirsch.
Yeah,
I got a friend's
Leia
request from her. I'm like, I don't think this profile is legit.
Yeah, she's so little. Like
She
in
is-
the tag match, she's
Yeah,
like
she is very very short.
she's fucking
She's
huge
good, yeah,
legs.
but
Like
she's-
her legs are so
Yeah.
powerful.
She looks
but
like she's 4'5".
but
She
has
is-
a tag
she
under
is
the top
under-
rope.
She is under 5 feet tall. She wrestled Camille, the NWA Women's Champion, who is very tall. She's like she is like the NWA's answer to Jade Cargill. She's a little
Yeah.
better in the ring. And
Yeah,
when she
Camille's good.
wrestled Layla Hirsch, it was silly looking. By the way,
Yeah.
there's some other news. NWA Power coming back to YouTube.
Yeah,
Saturday,
yes.
6:05.
Really?
I'm excited. It's gonna be on Fight TV because they pay for that package and get all the NBA shows for a year. But then 2 days later, it's on YouTube for free.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's
So,
a good move.
That's a real good move, especially Matt Cardona come in, put the title on him.
And the deal they have
Get some
now,
of these people that are available.
And what
If you-
time is that starting now on YouTube? What time does that debut?
It's
they do
7:05.
6:05, just like
6:05,
the
okay.
old school
Yeah, so
NWA
6:05.
wrestling.
Is,
Thursday?
Is Damian Sandow still there?
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, I think, but I don't. I remember he had the title that looked like the United States.
That was
The other-
awesome.
national title. Yeah.
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 No, he's been a tag guy lately. He's been teaming with JR Kratos for a while.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a lot of ROH guys that would be a great
There's
fit.
a lot of people if Billy Corgan can shell out some money that they could sign
Deppin would be
and
fantastic.
get in there.
Oh,
I would be fantastic.
yeah.
I could see William Regal going.
Ooh. What if Regal?
Yeah, even if it just makes appearance or
Yeah.
something.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
know,
I hope. I'm
This,
excited
this
to
is
go
very
back.
out of the box. You know who I could see wrestling there? Scott Armstrong.
No, yeah, maybe yeah. 'cause
Scott
it's all
Armstrong
good
and Ricky
debate.
Morton, 2 60-year-old guys having the best 60-year-old guy match you've ever seen.
That'd be awesome.
And then we had new tag team champions in the Lucha Bros. Not the
No,
Lucha Bros.
they
They
lost
beat the
to
Lucha
Jurassic
Bros.
Express.
The Jurassic Express beat the Lucha Bros. I had a feeling it was going to happen. Like I thought,
Yeah.
even like it was. I don't know if we said it on the
I
podcast.
think
we
it's
said
a
it before.
good
but
move.
Yeah.
yeah.
And,
I
and
didn't
the
see it
belts help
happening, but I'm good with
Jurassic
it.
Express. Yeah, they help Jurassic Express more than being on the Lucha Brothers right now.
The only thing that I think
Ray Phoenix breaking his arm. Well, apparently it's not a break.
just a dislocation.
yeah, but it looked like it fucking broke.
When he went down, I'm like either he dislocated his elbow
It was like,
or he broke.
it was like their arm bending the wrong way.
Mhm.
Yeah,
He's
it looked
taken
bad.
some nasty falls
Yeah.
though. Ray has. I mean, there was one spot earlier this year, I think it was, where he jumped off the top rope and done a 450, and people were supposed to, and he just landed flat in his chest.
Ugh.
I
Yeah.
can remember that. Looked nasty.
They teased the Malachi Black and Brody King twice.
Well, his stable. Yeah, you
Yeah.
assume it's him, and then a lot of people are saying Pac's going to be in it.
Yeah.
So,
So
Julian Hart,
they
yeah.
teased that. Is that going to be put on the back burner now? Because it looked like they were going to do
You could
Lucha
still
Bros
do
and
it.
them without a title implication, just to kind of start it.
you could throw somebody else in there, tag him with I don't know who.
Yeah.
You could put Pac with Penta and then have him turn. You can do a lot of things.
Yeah, or it would just be singles matches.
Yeah.
Malachi versus Pentagon.
Or you could put Malachi and Brody King against the Jurassic Express. It's nice that they won the tag titles. I don't see them holding them long.
No.
Yeah, I don't
I
see
think
them holding
they're going to
on,
be
yeah.
transitional champions.
Yeah, I think it was just to get Jungle Boy a title, like
Yeah.
put under his resume.
It's good.
Yeah.
But
He's pretty good.
But
Yeah.
a long run right
He's
now for them.
He's fantastic.
Bright future.
I don't know.
So
Yeah.
so this is a story they could tell with that too. They always talk about those 4 pillars. They've now all won a title except MJF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And CM Punk's whole thing is to stop MJF from getting that title shot.
yeah.
Yeah, because
And
he's making him lose.
MJF's a heel because he wants to wrestle for WWE. That's brilliant.
Brilliant,
In
yep.
AEW.
You can go there and go and do all that, and then
Yeah.
be fired and resign. As soon as you come back, I'll be here for that
Yeah.
asshole.
Get released faster and
They're
you
gonna
last
make-
in bed.
When he does win the title, that they're going to make a big deal out of
Yeah.
it, and I think that's why it's.
Oh, MJF.
Yeah, he'll win the title eventually. That segment was just A+.
Yes.
CM
I
Punk
think
and,
he wins the title before the end of this year.
I can maybe see that. Maybe he beats Hangman.
I
Yeah.
think he does beat Hangman.
And then you have him dropping the Punk then next year.
Yeah,
Or you still got Danielson, so there's so much to do there. You still got Miro. I think Miro will challenge Hangman next. Because I think
That would be
Punk's
That's
very
why I think Miro's like out in outer space right now.
Yeah.
Right? What the last 2
he's posted
shows?
TikToks on beaches with
with
Lana.
black haired Lana.
yeah, with his wife. So
Got to bring her in as Donna. You have to.
yeah, but there's a lot of. I mean, pro wrestling right now. It's just so it's so entertaining. There's so much cool shit going on. And Tony Khan did say on Busted, I believe it was Busted Open. He said, "I have a dream signing."
Yeah, but I said, who's left? It's not John Cena and it's not The Rock.
It's not Dusty.
Yeah, it's not, and it's not Velveteen Dream. I mean, and it's not Steve Austin. Because even if it was, you have what's he gonna do?
Would Jeff Hardy be a dream signing?
No,
Would Danhausen
In-
be a dream
Yeah.
signing?
no. I mean, like,
Austin Aries.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, Tony Khan did say, I have a Hall of Famer, and it was Christian.
yeah. So I
Very
mean,
true.
True.
a dreams. I mean, maybe it's gonna be
And
Jeff Hardy.
you could be Jeff Hardy
That's
because a lot of people love him still, and no matter what he goes through, a lot of ladies still love him. So
Yeah,
that's
it's
still
true.
a
And
dream.
still-
Dreams.
I mean,
Can go.
dream
Yeah.
signing would
Ladies
be.
do love Cool Jeff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
dream
like
signing.
Okada's coming.
That's the only thing I can think of. But
Okay.
Just won the
Japan's not
title.
getting. Yeah, Japan's not getting rid of people, so that
No.
wouldn't be a signing.
Bray.
Bray, is that a
Yeah.
dream?
That's
Yeah.
a nightmare signing for me. I'm
Yeah.
not the biggest fan.
Yeah,
It's not
Johnny
Braun.
Gargano?
Yeah,
Johnny
Johnny-
Gargano, maybe?
Yeah, but that's even a stretch. Like,
Yeah.
dream signing?
The only one I could see on that is Jeff, possibly
Yeah.
Jeff.
And Samoa Joe maybe knew he was getting released.
yeah.
There you go.
If you guys are in the chat, let us know who you think the dream signing is.
Steve says hi. Hi, Steve. How you doing?
Yeah, I put him in the chat. Steve said hi. Yeah, said it's going to be Bray Wyatt. Is that a dream signing?
Not for me.
But like Brian said, they said they had a Hall of Famer and it was Christian.
What if they bring in the whole Wyatt family? Because you can.
Yeah,
Well, not the whole Wyatt.
Even though I don't really, yeah, not the whole, but I don't want the whole Wyatt family.
yeah.
I mean, obviously Brody's not.
I mean, I mean, they're not really a dark, spooky thing anymore. But you have Dark Order, then you'll have this House of Black, and then
Yeah.
you'll bring in Wyatt. But can Wyatt come in without a supernatural gimmick? And just,
No,
yeah.
not
He
nothing.
could.
He can, but he won't be any good. Yeah.
Yeah, he could be.
He can do
Swamp-
anything.
Swamp guy, Waylon Mercy.
There's rumors that I don't know how true they are, if they're just fan made, but there's rumors that like he's putting things out there and he's still using like a fiendish mask. Like, does WWE own the name Fiend?
Yes.
Is that all their
Oh, yeah.
thing?
Yeah. He can make
I
a
think
similar
I
one.
think his name would be like Wyndham Wyatt or Wyatt Wyndham or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just
Or-
Wyndham.
And he comes up with a new monster character or something. But like,
Yeah, I can't think of any names out there.
Bray
that would
Wyatt's
be-
not bad, but he's not at the level of AEW in ring unless he does a bunch of
Mhm.
extra stuff.
Here's where I will say I think AEW is doing a better job when it comes to making people who even though I was like they're not that great in the ring and just they book a match properly. Like they instead of doing a WWE formula,
Mhm.
they let people do their strengths and weaknesses in
Yeah,
the ring, and
that's
it
what-
makes the match
That's
better.
what ECW was known best for.
So I mean, there's anyone can go in the ring and pull a match off, especially if you put them with the right dancing partner. But that and there's a lot of good dancing partners in AEW.
Yeah.
So
Mikey Whipwreck.
there it is.
Put him in the ring with anyone. I was there the night he beat Steve Austin.
Yeah. All right. Anything else for current events that we want to talk about?
I think we covered pretty much everything.
What about the Tony Khan? Do we want to touch on that? The Tony Khan New Year's Eve blow up?
Oh, the big swole situation?
I
Yeah,
can care
or
less. I'm
just-
gonna be
yeah.
honest.
Just ignore her and she'll go away.
That's
That's what I hope.
yeah. That's kind of how I
Right.
hope the situation went.
I mean, representation's great, and it would be nice if you had more people of color in the main event scene in AEW. I think you will very soon. I think Ember Moon or Athena will be very soon a top player in the women's division. I think Keith Lee will be a top player in the men's division soon. Representation is coming.
Here's my thing. Representation is important, and I agree with it. Who on now? I'm not trying to pull a race thing or say, but if you have a Kenny Omega, a Daniel Bryan, and a CM Punk, representation is important. But you got to roll with your best starting quarterback, regardless
a lot
of what
times you
your
don't
skin
have
color.
somebody. Like, yeah, if you had someone that was Booker T's level, then okay, he can challenge
Like, what are you
for the
gonna do?
world title.
Just to appease fans, you're gonna throw Hobbs in there as your world champion?
Yeah.
Like, no.
I mean, maybe one day he could win it, but like you can't just hotshot someone because then
I
it
was just
sucks.
offended because you think there was Nyla. She was a trans lady and she's African American and Native American.
Yeah.
She was one of the second women's champion. Like,
She
how
was
could you
the
even
second,
say
yeah.
that?
And she was the first
was
one to say,
two-time.
she was the first one to say I wasn't TV ready, and took
Yeah.
a step backwards and worked on herself.
Right.
So that's smart on her thing. She's like, listen,
Right.
I could have been pushed.
And you
this
had
moment.
two Japanese women as you had your
Right.
first champion was
And-
Japanese.
And don't forget Scorpio Sky. He was one of the
First
first
tag team
tag.
champion.
Now that's a guy I would say I would put him further up the card.
Yeah.
I think he should be, but like recently with the stuff with Ethan Page sucks.
He's
And
got
it's
to
like, ugh.
redesign himself somehow.
Yeah, he needs some something.
As soon as they partner him with Ethan Page, it's like
good wrestler.
fuck.
Yeah, that's not doing that either of
No.
them favors. They
Nope.
need to split them up. Get rid of fucking Dan Lambert with the Cornette shtick.
See, I would
It's
keep
beyond tired.
Lambert, but I would make
Oh.
those singles competitors.
No, you gotta get rid of Lambert.
I like him.
Every week it's like the same shit. Okay, we get it. You hate AEW. Okay, you get it. You're just recycling what Cornette said. Just fucking hire Jim Cornette.
Maybe
that
it's
would be
coming.
awesome.
Maybe it's coming.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
He's the GOAT, Jim Cornette, regardless of his views.
That would be
Yeah.
a cold day in hell when Cornette walks through AEW.
I mean,
Cornette
and-
would do it tomorrow.
Oh, I know he
Never
would.
say
Cornette
never.
would
Yeah,
do
he
it
would.
tomorrow.
Huge.
And if
business.
you had the Bucks, I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. If you had the Bucks beat Jurassic Express for the tag titles, and then you do Bucks FTR, and Cornette wraps a tennis racket over one of the Jacksons' heads, you have gotten the biggest moment in AEW's tag division ever.
yeah,
I mean, maybe
lights
not the
go
best
out.
match because that cage match was great.
The problem is
But-
how do you get Tully away from FTR?
You keep
Totally
him.
manages somebody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. I mean, Jim Cornette. You have like Bobby Heenan's family. You have the Jim Cornette family.
Yep.
It's MGF, and you get rid of fucking John Spears because it looks like a dweeb.
Yeah.
And then you have
Tully's a great manager. He's not Jim Cornette.
yeah, he's not Jim
You can
Cornette.
put Tully with some other heels.
yeah,
Yeah.
No
And
one's
yeah,
Jim Cornette.
MJF, FTR, and you give him some other guy, someone that Cornette likes, some young guy. There you go.
Dan
There's
House.
only one guy ever that was a better
Yeah.
manager than Jim Cornette, and he's dead. So
Yeah.
it's Jim Cornette.
bringing Big Dust. That's
I
a
like
deep
Big
cut
Dust,
for the.
but it's Jim Cornette.
Yeah.
No, Jim Cornette's fantastic as a manager.
He's a nice guy. I met him in
Had a
person years
podcast.
ago. He's
Did ya?
super nice. Yep.
I
that's-
heard he's
super
very
nice.
What do you say, Ryan?
And it's a podcaster.
Yeah,
The Cornette podcast is very entertaining.
It is.
I have to start listening. I guess.
It's so good.
His
You don't have
that-
to agree
his-
with him to listen.
No.
No,
His take
that doesn't-
on the Tony Khan Big Swole situation was like the same thing I was thinking too. So you go listen to it. It's about
Yeah.
3 minutes long on YouTube.
All right. We're at the 40-minute mark. Let's say we dive into our topic.
Okay.
All right, Brian.
Ain't he great?
Ain't he great?
Ain't I great? Slap nuts. Remember that in WCW?
Yes.
So we're bringing this topic up because obviously we're going to talk about his history and his career in the pro wrestling business. He's literally done it all, from every aspect of the business, and also
has he? Has he?
and
Yeah.
he just recently returned to pro wrestling. I believe he's a backstage owner of somewhere. You were saying like he's going to be.
No. Oh,
Right.
I think he did buy. I think he is part of the ownership group of Progress Wrestling in
Yes,
England. Or
he-
he has
yeah.
something to do with running that.
Yeah.
The new
And
people
then,
running Progress.
And then he just showed up at GCW and put a guitar over
Effie's head.
the beloved Effie's
Yeah.
head. Is he still like your internet champion? Is that still a thing, or was that just like a one-off thing with Cardona?
I think that was one. Yeah.
Yeah, Cardona's whole thing with, and it's an angle, but the Cardona's whole thing with GCW now is he quit the company after he and Chelsea lost to Ali Ketch and Effie.
Yeah. The
In
photo
fact-
of Jeff Jarrett walking down the Atlantic City boardwalk with a broken
Oh
guitar.
my God, that was
Beautiful.
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I
I love that.
They're
photo.
doing a
storytelling in one picture, you know.
They're doing a great thing on Twitter now where they said that Joey Janela sent something to Matt Cardona, and it was pictures of Janela with Chelsea Green, and they're throwbacks to that angle with Ric Flair and Randy Savage where
Oh,
Flair was saying Elizabeth was mine before she was yours.
That's
It's like them laying by poolside and stuff. It's
Yeah.
great.
The brown envelope with the pictures.
Yeah.
So so we have the return of Jeff Jarrett, and we're gonna take it back to the beginning. Go ahead, Brian, take it away.
Well, the beginning is on July 14th, 1967, when Jeff Jarrett was born.
Mhm.
And then from there, they used to always say that The Rock was the first. Hang on, excuse me. The first third generation wrestler in the WWF. Not true. Jeff Jarrett was a third generation wrestler. His grandfather on his mother's side was Eddie Marlin, who was a wrestler in Memphis way back when, and then was the storyline matchmaker for a long time for the USWA. He was always like, "Oh, get Eddie Marlin, let's make that match." Kind of like how they use Tony Khan now, where you don't see him a lot, but they always talk about him.
Yeah. Or
And
what was it? Jack Tunney?
Jack Tunney.
yeah, Jack Tunney would show up a little bit more than that. I
Yeah.
think Eddie Marlin would too. Jack Tunney's probably a better.
very upset with you.
Jack on the take Tunney. I
Yeah, that's
should
my
say.
president.
Hey, my president's Canadian. That's right.
That should be a T-shirt. Jack Tunney is my
I
president.
probably is.
I believe it is, yeah. And then so Jeff Jarrett did everything. He's one of those guys that grew up in wrestling. He put up the chairs. He sold the programs. His grandmother, Eddie Marlin's wife, or no, Jerry Jarrett's mother, Christine, or maybe it is no, Christine is, I believe, Jeff's mother. She would be at the front of the place selling the tickets. It was the family business, quite literally. We could do a whole show on the Memphis wrestling war between the Goulasses and the Jarretts, but it winds up with Jerry Jarrett and then later Jerry Jarrett and Jerry Lawler running the Memphis territory. It would become known as the CWA, later the USWA. And that's where Jeff Jarrett gets his start. First as a referee. Before he wrestled, he was a referee, and then he made his debut in 1986.
Wow.
And very successful in Memphis. It helps when your father's a promoter.
Yeah.
He between the USWA and Continental Wrestling, he was a 5-time champion, a 9-time Southern champion, and an 18-time tag team champion.
With everybody that came through the promotion.
Oh, like I think half of them were with Lawler.
Yeah.
Because I was
probably.
like, he kind of took build on these places as Lawler's either main rival or tag team partner.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was the big thing there. But obviously things are gonna come calling. And it's WWF that comes calling, because in the early 90s, around 92, 93, WWF, and at this point it's the USWA, because Jerry Jarrett has bought World Class Wrestling. And at this point, they're starting to work together a lot. And it's because Vince McMahon might be going to jail. And if Vince McMahon goes to jail, somebody's got to run the company.
Yeah, for the
And,
steroid trial.
I was on trial for steroid distribution in 1993. So they start getting nice with USWA, because Jerry Jarrett is going to run the wrestling side of things if Vince goes to jail, and Linda's going to run the business side.
Yeah, now Bruce Pritchard will tell you that Vince was going to run from jail. And it's
Bruce
like,
Pritchard
nah.
is a goddamn liar.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if Vince could. Maybe I'm sure Vince would want to, but I don't know if
he would have his input.
could be able to.
Listen, rappers
jail.
recorded albums out of jail.
Yeah, but I mean, that's
anything's possible.
I don't think Vince is going to get the same treatment.
But somebody's got to be there to handle the day to day, and that was Jerry Jarrett.
You know.
So part of this is if you think the first time Vince McMahon was a heel on TV was Raw in the late 90s, it wasn't. They did a whole angle in Memphis where people are coming down to challenge Jerry Lawler. It's Tatanka, it's Randy Savage, it's all these people. And Vince McMahon was on TV in Memphis being a heel, making fun of the Memphis fans, wearing the USWA title after I think Savage won their Tatanka. He came down to Memphis, and him and Pat Patterson were ringside for a match. And part of this is Jeff Jarrett is going to be Jerry Lawler's kind of understudy, fighting against the WWF guys. Kamala was in WWF at the time, and he beat Kamala by DQ. He had a match with Bret Hart.
That's
The
very
Ugandan
big.
Giant, yes, the Ugandan Headhunter.
The Bret Hart match, probably a little higher on the spectrum.
Oh, yeah.
Was Sid back in there back then? Was he part of the WWE when they
90
invaded?
by the time this was happening, I think Sid was in between his Sid Justice run and when he came back in 93 to WCW.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
Sid,
that's
he
right.
might. I think Sid was in for spots in USWA because he was down there. Sid is from West Memphis, Arkansas, but it's literally right over the bridge from Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah. And I think he was out of
And he had
WWE.
roots there too, didn't he? Lord Humongous.
Yeah, Lord
Yep.
Humongous. He was like the second or third one, but
Sid and Jeff Jarrett were bounced back and forth from WCW to WWE many
Yeah.
times.
yeah, and Sid would sometimes, if he was between WWF and WCW, he would do a few months in USWA, win the title, and then get stripped of it because he quit to go play softball.
Mm.
No,
Did a
that's
lot.
not
true.
a joke. That's
Yeah,
not
that
a
is
joke.
true.
Sid really likes
true.
softball. I think that's why he didn't do the one WrestleMania. It's like, wow.
You know what Sid never
Okay.
did playing softball?
Like community softball or WrestleMania?
Yeah. You know what Sid never did playing softball?
Break his leg.
Shatter his fucking leg.
Maybe he did. We don't
Yeah.
know.
He never did a top rope big boot.
Yeah.
He never had a knife war with Arn Anderson either.
Yeah.
Scissor War.
Scissor, sorry. I was born at a young age, forgive me.
So this whole thing in 92 also has Jeff Jarrett doing some house shows, and he would wrestle usually like opening match things. Sometimes people would do that before they would show up on TV. I remember going to shows at the Spectrum where like Scotty Too Hottie, way before he was ever Scotty Too Hottie, was Scott Taylor and wrestled like Marty Jannetty in the opening match.
Another
but
guy who just made a little bit of a comeback.
Yeah, he wrestled Janela in the last DCW show,
Yeah.
the same show that Jarrett showed up on. Scotty Too Hottie wrestled Janela. And so Jarrett wrestled Iron Mike Sharp. He wrestled Mondo Clean, who would very soon after this become Damian Demento.
Yeah.
He won all these matches too. And the one that was weird is he beat Rick Martel in a match. I think Martel might have been on the way out,
Yeah.
and he beat Rick Martel, but that was just like a trial run, and he was a baby face. In 1993, he comes in full time. Business isn't going so well in Memphis, so they're like, yeah, just go make your money with Vince. Vince got acquitted. So then in late 93, you start getting these vignettes where Jeff Jarrett is coming to the WWF, but he's not coming for success in wrestling. He wants to use the WWF as a stepping stone.
Mm-hmm.
This was a real angle.
I love
He's using the WWF as a stepping stone because he wants to become a famous country music singer.
Yeah.
And what better way to do that than to wrestle in the WWF?
Yeah. Because he's the best singer and the best dancer. Said that before Rick
And the
James.
greatest
They-
wrestler.
Ain't I great?
And WWF still does this, but they do it backwards, where they take really, really successful social media people and bring them into WWE.
But enough about those twins they just hired. The basketball playing twins in like
Yeah.
Fresno State or something.
Mhm.
Oh,
So
God.
Instagram following got Eva Marie a job again.
Who job?
yeah.
Eva Marie.
Marie.
Oh God.
'Cause
Yeah.
she has
yeah,
millions of Instagram
It's like
followers.
let's see how well this works out. Oh, she still sucks.
WWE try to do what like podcasters do, where they're like, maybe if we have a really big name as our guest, that'll make us the next big podcast.
We'll get all them people now watch our show.
Yes.
like, well-
Everybody will stop watching Jim Cornette and watch me because I interviewed the biggest name in wrestling.
It's like it doesn't work like that.
Hook?
Yeah.
Oh,
All them people
We
watch
got
Eva
Hook?
Marie.
we got Hook.
Yeah. All the people watch Eva Marie because she was hot. That's why they like the follow her page. They don't give a shit if she wrestles. They don't
Yeah.
give a shit about wrestling. Like, duh.
They don't give a shit about your podcast because you're not famous.
Yeah.
Next, anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So what you're saying is
Speaking from the heart.
one
Here.
of us, it's gonna have to be Andy. One of us, and it's gonna have to be Andy. It has to go to WWE to vault to podcasting fame.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
the greatest talker. He's the greatest producer.
Yeah.
Can that be your new
80 great
independent angle? I'm
EST.
only here to wrestle to put over
Yeah,
my
put my
podcast.
podcast over. If only you could give out like some type like a CD, but like a pod, like give out like an audio file, like MP3 like player or something. What they called the sticks?
The UB or USBs.
Yeah, I'm giving out USB sticks at the show.
We'll give everyone like
Andy,
Spotify
why is your
subscription.
entrance music an hour and a half long? Oh, it's
Yeah,
a podcast. Don't
It's a
worry about it.
podcast.
Come out to it. Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Oh my God.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tornado
Yeah.
Talk, and you're like dancing to
And
it.
it's, yeah, makes no sense.
We have
Oh,
over 100
man.
episodes you can come down to.
Yeah, there we go. A different one every show.
And you're on 3 different podcasts, so
Yeah,
there's a lot.
plenty of different.
we have a lot of entrance music.
You're doing more podcasts a week than matches sometimes, so
Yeah.
you'll never run out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever.
Put your music in. Just play a podcast.
Yeah, just play episode 134
What?
on Spotify.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Now that would be great if you're wrestling somebody like Devontes or Johnny Moran or something like that, because we could just play the podcast there on and you can psych them out.
There you go. Yeah. All right.
And so that the country music thing, it kind of gets off to a slow start. He's more in like the lower mid card. And his first pay-per-view appearance as a King of the Ring, 1994. He loses in the first round to the 1-2-3 Kid. Gets his first win that year at SummerSlam against Mabel.
Yeah.
That
now,
had to be a great
the first time you see Jeff Jarrett on TV.
Wah, wah.
Now, obviously, for me, I didn't know any of like anything outside of WWE. I was
I didn't know him from Home Ground.
Yeah, he was brand new to me.
I know.
What was your take on him?
I was a kid, so I thought, well, I guess he is a country music singer. I don't know. I don't follow that.
Were you
so
a
I don't know.
fan, or did you hate him? Did you love him? Did you think he was good in the ring? Did you like the character?
I like the character. I at that point I didn't really understand what being good in the ring, bad in the ring was.
Mhm.
At that, I was like, wow, I really like Mr. Perfect, but I didn't know why. You know, so
I was hooked on it. I thought it was great.
I liked it.
And I hate country music.
Yeah, I hate it too, but I'm like, I guess
The thing I remember the most is his freaking wacky ass outfits.
Yeah.
With the
Oh,
big
yeah, with the light up
glasses.
glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, the glasses lit up.
His
all the
outfit-
dark.
Glasses.
his outfit kind of made no sense, but
It was just a
Yeah, it
strut.
made no sense, but that's what's stuck in my mind always.
The funny thing is because for me, I was just like, oh, he's a younger version of Honky Tonk Man. And I just
Yeah.
remember being like, every time Honky Tonk Man was down there, he just entertained me because
I
he
think
was
they put them together for sure.
he was a good
Nope.
chicken
not
shit
Honky
heel.
Tonk Man.
So it's just like, oh, and then this guy's gonna smash guitars. Like I was immediately like I was into Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
And then my
He's a
cousin
great
Jimmy
gimmick.
was into Jeff Jarrett because in our wrestling, like we played wrestling, of course,
Yeah.
I was always like a Shawn Michaels, and he was Jimmy Barrett, and his name worked perfectly with Jeff Jarrett. So
Oh,
it was
okay.
I was like JIMMYBARRET. I'm
Yeah.
Jimmy Barrett.
That was like when he came up with that. That was so memorable.
yeah.
Like what a line! Like you don't do anything else, just say your name.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, so good. I was immediately a Jeff Jarrett fan.
And you know, the first time I watched The Tiger King with Joe Exotic, for some reason Jeff
Jeff Jarrett.
Jarrett, but you just bounced into my mind. I'm like, oh my god.
Jeff Jarrett should come back as a Tiger King.
No,
No,
Absolutely.
I love what he's doing now
No.
with that
Yeah.
that
No.
photo. It's like the lost troubadour
you want to talk
type.
flash in the pan show? That's what that is.
They got
There's-
so lucky that we were all stuck in our houses
Yeah.
when that released.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna get into it, but there's some weird developing thing on that. But I mean,
Nobody
if you watch
gives
the
a damn.
No one
Nobody
cares no
cares
more. It's
anymore
over.
about the
Yeah.
Tiger.
It's over.
But that is true. Like I made the comparison between both
Yeah,
of them.
yeah,
For
yeah.
some reason, am I the only one, or did you too?
a little bit,
A
yeah.
little bit.
Jeff Jarrett's new
'Cause-
thing with he's kind of like Johnny Cash when he came back and did
Yeah,
Hurt.
I love it.
Like that's
Okay.
that's like the new Jeff to me
Little
anyway. That's the
darker
first thing I
traveling
thought.
troubadour. Yeah, I love
Well,
it.
here's one of the things with Jeff Jarrett and Tiger King is Jeff Jarrett is genuinely one of the last real carnies left in pro wrestling.
Yeah, that's true. Global Force Gold.
That's right. That's
Timeline-wise,
we're getting
Brian,
Global
I don't
Force
wanna-
Gold.
I don't want to go out of order, but the NWA,
Brian's winging this.
Not yet.
not yet.
Yeah.
I have footnotes. We're trying.
Yeah.
I
Okay, I'm
I
sorry.
have footnotes.
We're about 3-4 years from that.
Which NWA, the bad one or the TNA one?
The bad one.
The Jim
bad
Cornette one.
Yeah.
We
the
get
Jim
Dennis
Cornette one.
Corluzzo on Raw. Yes.
Yeah. When he had the singlet and the
Oh
ponytail.
my- and he beat the Undertaker.
Yeah.
The pay-per-view. So,
All right.
so with this, he does get a little enhancement to his act at the end of '94 and the '95 because he gets a roadie. He's a
Mhm.
singer. He needs a roadie, and that is the Road
Road
Dogg.
Dog.
Fucking
Brian
love the
Arnold
roadie.
long before this, and he's starting to talk about it's time to wrestle or start actually singing. But before this, he gets a Intercontinental title match with Razor Ramon, and I remember this match because I was like 95, early 95. I was like 11. It's like there's no way he can beat Razor Ramon. Well, he beat Razor Ramon.
Yeah.
He beat Razor Ramon. They did a thing where Jarrett cheated and took out Razor Ramon's leg, and then he won by count out. But Razor Ramon was valiant, and he didn't want to keep the title that way. So they restarted the match, and then Jarrett beat him for the title.
For
And-
me, at this point in time in wrestling, is where I loved it because it wasn't just your big, huge muscle
They were
bodybuilders
kinda going away
that were
from that.
winning championships.
And
so
the-
like your Shawn Michaels is winning, your Jeff Jarrett's are winning.
And the reason they
Goldust-
were going away from that is the steroid trial.
yeah.
Yes. Oh,
and
yes.
and for me as a kid watching, they were more realistic people.
Oh yeah,
And I enjoyed it more. Like for me, it was like I'm fucking sick of watching a 300-pound muscle guy win, and then a guy like Jeff Jarrett, who's a character who can tell a story better in the ring, is going in there and he's cheating and he's winning.
Yeah,
that's all nice. But if the Ultimate Warrior would have come out and beaten Jeff Jarrett, I'm like,
yeah,
I would have been all about.
I would have hated it. I wasn't a Warrior guy.
No,
I would have hated it when I would have hated it when I
either.
was like 21, but not when I was 11.
Yeah. When I was a kid, Warrior was awesome.
When I was a kid, I never liked him.
I was a kid during that Warrior phase, but then again, I was a girl and I wasn't so hyperactive too. So I think he appealed to like the young boys that were super hyperactive, had a lot of energy, I guess, because he didn't appeal to me. I was more of a Hogan fan.
Yeah. If you put Hogan, Warrior, and Savage on TV, I went to Savage every time.
Or Savage.
I don't know. As a kid, they were all.
I went to Savage. He's gonna be at PPW.
Really?
Yeah, sign.
But he was in there then.
We're gonna meet. We're gonna You're gonna if you want to meet Bob Backlund, he's gonna be in a couple weeks. He's gonna be at PPW. But anyway, for me, like Savage, perfect, Piper, like those are the guys I'm like, I want to watch them on TV more than anyone else. Like I didn't give a shit what Hogan was doing because to me, even as a kid, I was just like, all right, he's gonna get beat up, he's gonna Hulk up, he's gonna come back and win. Well, see, don't care.
I even when he's still doing it now and he starts doing that, then it's like, oh, there we go, yeah.
It does nothing for me.
That just makes me feel good.
Yeah, nothing for me.
It makes me feel like I'm 46.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 punches, whip off the rope, big boot, leg drop, it's over.
Yeah.
Love it. I don't know.
It worked for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess even as a kid, I never bought. And
even now, I like that. But I watch the word. I'm like, okay, I like everything until the bell rings, and then it sucks. And then it's over, and it's cool again.
Yeah,
it's like Glacier coming to the ring.
Good thing the matches are only about 3 minutes each.
Yeah, and then Glacier wrestles, and you're like, ooh.
It's like when everyone's like Goldberg. I was like, don't care.
I never liked Goldberg.
Turn it off. Don't care.
I was not good. No.
Yeah.
It's the worst now with the peak. When
Tip
he shows up on their
tip your mic down.
And it's like
Jeff, tip your mic down.
When he shows up, I'm like, if he wins this match, I'm never watching again. I'm never watching again.
He wins. You kept watching still, though, right?
Yeah.
Goldberg beat Jeff Jarrett in WCW.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to Jeff. Sorry.
So the roadie.
Jeff. Roadie.
So the roadie's there, and he's helping Jeff Jarrett win matches, and the whole roadie thing culminates on the second In Your House. I believe it's called In Your House, the Lumberjacks, retroactively. And this is, I believe, in like May of 1995. And that night, Jeff Jarrett is defending the Intercontinental title against Shawn Michaels. And he's also going to be singing his hit single, With My Baby Tonight.
From his new album. And they showed pictures of the album, and it did have all the songs. Like, if this was nowadays, they gave Elias an album. So, like,
yeah,
Jeff Jarrett would have had an album if, like, it was nowadays.
Well, apparently one of the things was they're like, this song turned out good. We could do something with this.
Yeah, because they did make the music video, and they would play that before this. Like, but obviously the music video he didn't have to sing, but so it's like, oh, he's gonna sing this live.
Yeah, live on In Your House.
Live.
Didn't we watch
live?
Didn't we watch that before a pay review one time? We
did last year, I think. Yeah,
and we were all like looking at the crowd, and it was just like it was a perfect crowd to do this Jeff Jarrett country.
If you do that like down south.
That's I think we're like it was just mullet central. Everybody in the crowd.
And not only that, in the first match of that show is the roadie against the 1-2-3 Kid, and the roadie busts out a pile driver off the top rope.
Insane.
Like it would be crazy by today's standards.
Yeah. And then they're like interviewing people after their performance and like, what did you think of Jeff Jarrett's performance? Pretty good. He's pretty good.
I like him. I like him. Buy that album. They do that thing. It's like, would you something like his album's coming out? Or are you gonna buy it? I'm like, yeah.
The crowd was like, I'll buy 3 copies tonight. They were into it.
I already got it pre-ordered.
There was around the time they had that guy too that was selling on the what's his name, Barry Didinsky. He would always like sell the merchandise on the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Bruce Pritchard had that gig for a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
He would sell the Shawn Michaels all over print T-shirts. Doc Hendricks.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah. So this is kind of the culmination, and Shawn Michaels wins the Intercontinental title that night because the roadie goes to trip Shawn, but he's doing the trip move, Shawn versus the Irish Whip, and he accidentally trips Jarrett. Shawn Michaels wins the match, wins the title. Great match.
Roadie was distracted by the crowd. He was looking at the crowd, and he was kind of like, and he kind of did like a no-look pull. Yeah.
And he pulled Jeff instead of Shawn. And this was supposed to lead to you finding out that Jeff Jarrett was a fraud and a phony, and he didn't sing With My Baby Tonight. The roadie sang it.
Yeah.
Because it really is Road Dogg singing on that track.
Milli Vanilli.
Yeah.
Exactly. And both Jarrett and the roadie.
Sorry to cut you off, but where's that at actual timeline? Like the Milli Vanilli lip singing thing?
Oh, this was many years later.
That was like 91.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is several years later.
Yeah.
I think that would have even been
They
like a
could have
little before
pulled
that,
from
like
that,
88, 89.
Yeah, might have been. Yeah, because then they were.
Oh, I'm sure
robbing
they did.
fat.
I'm sure that's part of the idea.
Yeah.
But the thing here is that Jarrett and the roadie didn't kind of want to break up yet. They thought there was mileage in it. They thought, hey, we could actually get something out of this song and sell it. But they wanted to do the breakup then and there. And there were some contract disputes too. And they both wind up quitting the company. Like even after that match, they go back to Doc Hendricks, Michael Hayes, and Jarrett and the roadie aren't even there. He's just talking about them getting into a fight. Like he's recounting the story of the fight. And you don't see either of them again until the end of the year. They wound up both going to USWA. They went back to Memphis. I think Rhodey might have actually gone to Smoky Mountain for a little bit. This was around the time Smoky Mountain closed down. And he was Jesse James Armstrong at that point. And Jeff Jarrett goes back to USWA. He wins the title. But he also comes back to WWF for a little bit in late 94, early 95. He gets in a small feud with Ahmed Johnson, of all people. Ahmed beat him by DQ at the Rumble. He did the guitar shot. That was, I think, the first time he used the guitar. And Ahmed just no-sold it, I think, if I remember correctly.
Ahmed might not have.
What didn't he no-sell?
Well,
he only sold when he got hurt for real, which was all the time.
Here's something to think about. Jeff Jarrett coming back to the scene. The roadie, now a free agent.
Yeah,
Yes.
put them together.
Yes.
The band together.
That'd be awesome.
Bring back the band,
And he has to
baby.
have the bandana and the sunglasses and just, what's the roadie doing here?
I think I'd rather Jeff Jarrett the roadie more than I want to see a New Age Outlaws reunion at AEW.
Oh, God, me too.
I mean, even obviously, Road Dogg. I don't think wrestling is going to be his thing.
No.
Because didn't he have like a heart problem?
Yeah.
yeah, he could come in
Yeah.
and like hit someone with a chair.
Yeah, that's why I said I
Yeah.
think him as like the roadie would be hilarious.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, he could be one of those guys that gets a podcast. He could be one of those guys that comes in as a manager or something. He could do something with the Ass Boys.
Isn't there
and
a-
Billy Gunn.
Isn't there a whole thing with him where he thought his family was like cursed or something like that?
It
Or
was a joke. It was
Yeah.
a joke they would always have about, because when he was in WCW for a little bit, and they would always talk about the Armstrong curse because they never really pushed those guys. Brad was the light heavyweight champion for a little bit, but usually the Armstrongs would lose in WCW, and they would have it would be like the Armstrong curse. They always would lose, and it might have been him. One of them had a shirt that said like "Look, Ma, no curse." It might have been
Yeah.
Steve or
Yeah.
Scott.
Yeah, well, they never could. None of them had all of it together to become a main event guy or even a big
Yeah.
player. Bullet Bob was probably the best. And he
Yeah.
was the
Yeah,
dad,
they
but
were
he
all
was
good
old by
wrestlers.
then. Yeah,
The worst wrestler was the roadie, Brian,
Yeah, it was the Road Dogg.
but he was the one that could talk. He was the one that had charisma.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, the other ones, they said that which one was it that was awesome backstage, hilarious, but then when the camera's on,
Brad.
it's like, yeah, Brad.
And Brad was one of the
Because
most gifted wrestlers of his generation too.
Very
Yeah, if
Brad
he could-
Armstrong was amazing.
turned on the charisma, he would have been a star, but he couldn't.
That's why they always try to do the thing where they would put him under a mask. He was like
Yep.
Arachnoman. He was the
Yeah.
fake Spider-Man. He
Bad
was
Street.
Street.
Suicide? Was he ever? No.
No,
No.
that was
Street.
later.
what was his gimmick when he was
Buzzkill.
yeah, Buzzkill, the fake Road
And it-
Dog.
Yeah, he would just do all of his brother's lines. He would do the "Oh, you didn't know."
horrible.
Like he would do everything.
That was like 99 WC.
Yeah.
It was awful.
All right, let's get back to Jeff. Sorry.
Oh, the other thing they did was
side
like
tangent.
Candyman. Brad Armstrong would throw candy to the kids.
Yeah.
That was his other gimmick.
Goddamn
Louis
Candyman.
Armstrong.
Tip it down and just tighten this up.
Goddamn Candyman.
No, the side.
The sides.
Having mic trouble.
Just
So
so it
what-
stays there for you.
One of the fun things I did do a little research on this. Most of this is coming from memory. One of the things I didn't know is right before he dropped the title to Michaels, he did 3 shows around here for an indie PCW. It was right out of
Oh,
Reading.
yeah. You went to a few PCW shows.
Really?
Yeah.
And in the summer of '94, Jim Powers was the PCW champion, and there was a show in Reading where Jarrett beat him for the title. He's the reigning Intercontinental Champion this time. He beats him for the title in Reading. He retains the title at a show in Gilbertsville.
Wow.
There
And
was
then
some
he-
Gilberton
That was,
would have
that
shit
was
my
probably
pants.
at the auction that's not there anymore, the Gilbertsville Farmers Market, whatever it's called. I wrestled there a couple times.
the house that Jeff Jarrett built.
Yeah.
Well, it was
Andy
there.
And then he lost the title in Wind Gap.
Oh wow.
Wow.
How about that?
Back
Do you
to
think we
Jim
get him on the
Powers.
indie scene? Do you think he shows up like a
Jeff
local,
Jarrett?
like
I'm sure he'll make
we
an
see like
appearance.
Jeff Jarrett, like Outbreak or PPW?
Yeah,
You could,
let's
I
get
could
this
totally see a
signing.
Jeff Jarrett
Yeah.
signing at PPW.
Yeah.
That's right up their alley.
It'd be awesome. All right.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
So he did-
I actually met Jeff Jarrett and got a picture with him in the ring once.
Really?
We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah. Let's get back to he's now leaving WB. He's in WCW.
No,
yeah,
Oh,
he
no.
well, he left WWE after the Ahmed Johnson thing. He was in USWA for a little bit, but in the fall of '96, he comes into WCW on a 1-year deal, and WCW is riding high at this point. The NWO is there; they're dominating WWF. They are the unquestioned #1 company in America. And Jarrett comes in, and his whole thing is, "I'm a free agent. I'm not with the NWO. I'm not with WCW. I'm open to anything." But very quickly, he wants to become a horseman, and they don't want him. So, but he's going to fight his way into the Horseman. At Starrcade 96, he beats Benoit, and then he beats Mongo at Super Brawl in 97 with the thing, if he beats Mongo, he can be in the Horseman. And this is when they start introducing Deborah McMichael, who at the time was still Steve McMichael's wife, and she was managing Steve McMichael, but she winds up going over to Jeff Jarrett. And this is where you first get that combination that became a big thing later. And he winds up winning the U.S. title from Dean Malenko, and they kick him out of the Horsemen because he's fighting other Horsemen for titles. And then Mongo beats him for the U.S. title. And that was mainly his first WCW run, was that. And then he's gone in 1997 because he only had a 1-year deal. And even though WCW is still #1, by the time this contract is up, WCW has won every ratings battle for about 1 year and 3 months. WWF is the clear #2. And he signs with WWF. And he shows up, and this is where we get the NWA angle. He shows up with Jim Cornette and Howard Brody and Dennis Coralluzzo. The NWA has come to the WWF, and he is the new NWA North American champion.
Man, he has
And
his
it
hair in a
did
ponytail.
not go over at all. Yeah, he's hair in a ponytail.
Got a
He's
nice
wearing this weird
singlet.
singlet that looks like
Yeah.
Miami Dolphins colors.
Yeah.
And it
was the
went
tag
over as
team?
the Rock and Roll Express.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the Rock and Roll Express with and then they brought in the new Midnight Express.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bodacious Bob and Bombastic Bart.
Boy, did that suck.
Yeah.
It all
Yeah.
sucked. It just sucked.
Poor Stan Lane's
Yeah.
probably spinning in his grave. Oh wait, he's still alive. Sorry.
And then I think his big feud with that NWA title was Barry Windham.
That's right.
Yeah, but at that point, Barry Windham was like,
The Widowmaker.
yeah, in the ring, he
I loved him.
Didn't have it anymore.
I love Barry Windham.
He was
In
a-
his
he was a
day,
Hamburg,
amazing.
right?
Awesome.
No,
Barry Windham was not a Hamburg. No,
he's
No?
not there.
Who was that I'm thinking of that was there?
JJ Dillon.
Horseman. Yeah, JJ
JJ
Dillon.
Dillon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
JJ Dillon was the only horseman there.
Yeah.
Horseman.
Houseman. And so that did not go over well. He did wind up, like I said, beating the Undertakers, like by DQ or count out or something, at the In Your House Degeneration X pay-per-view. He beat the
Wow.
Undertaker. But by I think March of '98, they can the angle, and that's when they bring in Tennessee Lee,
Yeah.
Robert
Tennessee
Fuller.
Lee. Colonel Robert
Parker,
Parker,
yeah.
Robert Fuller.
Tennessee
Tony, you would know
Lee.
him as the guy who really filled out that Speedo.
Yeah. Yeah. Guy's
was good.
blessed.
I
He was
love
good. He
I
was
loved
really
him,
good.
yeah.
Me too.
Let me tell you something, son. He was Foghorn Leghorn, basically.
Yeah, basically. So this
He got
is
a-
this is
like a
Jeff
baby's
Jarrett.
arm holding an apple.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
This is Jeff Jarrett. Just they're going back to what worked before. He's going to be a country music singer again, and he's going to have Tennessee Lee by his side. And they do a thing again where he's going to sing on a pay-per-view, and he's singing with his country band Sawyer Brown, who's a real band. Like,
Yeah.
I guess I don't know a lot about country, but they're pretty big. And this time it was like they recorded the track beforehand. They were all lip syncing, but it's actually Jeff Jarrett singing this time. But the big thing is after his set, I think Steve Blackman beat him up or something.
Yeah.
And so he brings in heavies, and his heavies are Southern Justice,
Yeah.
which are a repackaged version of the Godwins, Henry and Phineas Godwin.
They
No
just
longer
wore
hog farmers. They're just these tough, big Southern guys and
Confederate
vests.
flag enthusiasts, because that's they had like
Pretty much. Yeah. But the one thing I liked is they would beat up a guy and then just put their business card on the guy they just beat up. It
yeah.
was like Southern Justice, problem solvers. And I thought that it was actually a good thing for them. And then Henry Godwin, Mark Canterbury, hurt his neck and had to retire. And that's why that kind of came to an end. And around this time, he's feuding with X-Pac. X-Pac had just come back. And Jarrett wound up, for some reason, cutting Howard Finkel's hair. Like, Finkel always had like the horseshoe bald thing.
Yeah.
So he beats up Howard Finkel and he just shaves his head. So that's when the Fink went to totally bald. And X-Pac took offense to this because I guess he likes Howard Finkel. They didn't really explain it a whole lot. And so this all culminates to in a hair versus hair match at SummerSlam in 1998. And X-Pac beats Jarrett, but it's one of those bad hair matches where they don't totally shave the guy's head. It was like when Kevin Nash.
They just give him a buzz cut.
Yeah, it was like Kevin
Quick
Nash
buzz,
lost the hair
yeah.
match to Jericho that time, and he got the haircut he has in that Punisher movie.
Yeah.
So that's what
I
they
always
did.
felt like a hair match should be like, you have to get a ridiculous haircut. Like if I was in a
Yeah,
hair match,
an
like if
awful-
I
like,
beat
get a
you in a hair
mullet.
match, like I'm just shaving the top.
Yeah.
And you're keeping
And you have to keep the rest.
and you had to
can't
keep
go
the
get it
long
cut, yeah.
Hogan. You know what I mean? But I'm Danny DeVito in you. That's like
One of the best when Kurt Angle did it, and then he had the wrestling gear headpiece with a toupee, and he wore that for a while.
The old Buddy
They-
Roberts.
You know-
They stole that from the Freebirds, Buddy Roberts.
You know what you should pitch? I don't know if he still does it. I haven't seen him in forever, but you should pitch a hair versus hair match with Fox and
Oh,
just
he's
shave
in
that
a little
one
bit,
little
yeah, a little
patch.
bit.
And then he's like devastated, like I can't be seen like
Yeah.
this.
Well, the whole thing.
Well,
in wrestling,
That kind of happened in Smoky Mountain with Chris Candido, because Candido always had really short hair,
yeah.
and he lost a hair match and he freaked out. And he would
It's
wear a
funny 'cause-
mask. He would wear a mask that just covered the top of his head and his chin, like his face was exposed.
That's
I'm gonna
funny.
pitch
the
out the
best
Fox.
was Vince was when Vince got his head shaved with the
Oh.
Donald Trump
Yeah.
Donald Trump
Trump,
thing.
yeah.
That was great.
Yeah. But that'd be funny if he just shaved a little chin.
Yeah, I know.
No.
He carves out a target on top of his head.
Hey, in
It's like
wrestling, anytime someone wanted to cut their hair, they would work in this storyline. That's why there
Yeah.
was hair versus hair matches.
Yeah, it's a lost art. It should come back.
And that also reminds me of the time they did the mask versus mask match with Kane and Vader. Like Vader had the worst
Yeah,
mask
it's
ever. Like you can see half his face anyway.
We've seen his face.
And he takes his mask off and he's like, "I'm the big fat piece of shit. Maybe Vader time's over."
yeah,
And he
oh,
walks out, and
that was awful.
he came back like 2 more times, and he had the mask again.
Yeah,
Like it was like loser has to take the mask off tonight. Was the angle.
Yeah.
And so after this, Jeff Jarrett kind of spins his wheels a little bit in late 1998. But somebody becomes a free agent. It's no longer under contract to WCW. It's no longer married to a certain ex-Chicago Bear. And the shot in the arm for Jeff Jarrett here is that Deborah McMichael becomes his manager at the end of 1998. Do you remember the match with Goldust? I think it was like Rock Bottom that year. Was a December pay-per-view. And and this is total attitude error. You could never get away with this now. The whole idea behind this match is that if Goldust beat Jeff Jarrett, Deborah would have to basically get naked. And that was the whole premise of the match. And Goldust wins. And I remember the line that I remember is before the match when he's setting up a stipulation, he's like, Goldust is like, if I win, little Debbie has to show her tasty cakes.
that's a good line. And that's Deborah was how puppies got started.
Yeah.
Yes.
That she was blessed.
Chesty, yeah.
Yeah. That was, and everyone was like, yes, it's gonna happen.
Every little boy, yeah.
Big tits, even though we can go on the internet, even though it's archaic at
It
the
took
point.
forever to load, you know?
Yeah, you can see it.
But the whole thing here, and it does kind of a sad note to it, is they do the match and Deborah's undressing and they're teasing that she's going to take her bra off, and the blue blazer runs out and covers her up
Yeah.
and walks. I think that was the first time they brought in the blue blazer.
What a hero.
Mhm.
Yep.
This
And
is where in wrestling I was fucking love it. 'Cause
Well, it's firing all still.
this stable for me was my favorite thing besides DX that was happening on WWE. These
Really,
three-
Owen and Jeff
Wow.
Jarrett.
Yeah.
Owen and Jeff
I
Jarrett,
love them.
Deborah, I loved.
Yokozuna.
Yeah, it was
Said later on.
I'm not a nugget, and then he's like this whole fucking like when Owen was with the Nation of Domination. I thought that was
that part.
amazing. Then when Owen was,
Oh,
doing
I
the-
thought that was awful.
I thought it was
That
hilarious.
was great.
Yeah,
He
and
was
then
my
when
favorite
Owen was
wrestler.
doing the Slammy Award winner, and
Oh,
then-
that was way before that.
yeah, and
That
then,
was
then
the
he,
before.
then he joined with Jeff Jarrett. I was like, I love this team. Like him and Jeff Jarrett
The
together. I loved.
Blackheart.
Yeah, I loved it.
And they
Loved it.
did very quickly win the tag team titles. And I always remember the weird team they defended against, because I was at the WrestleMania that year in '99, and they defended the tag titles against D'Lo Brown and Test.
What a team.
Yeah.
Because it was a
what
battle
team.
royal
Yeah.
on. That was when they had Sunday Night Heat before the pay-per-views. And they did a battle royal. It's like the last 2 people in the battle royal are going to wrestle for the tag titles later, and it was D'Lo Brown and Test
Yeah,
of all people, and Ivory. Because it was like Ivory was in one corner, Deborah was in the other, and that was one of the things with that. Because I think Ivory was managing D'Lo at the time. But unfortunately, what happens here is the Godfather is the Intercontinental Champion at this point, and 2 months after that WrestleMania, it's the Godfather in the Blue Blazer, and that's obviously when Owen Hart falls to his
Yes.
death. There's
Yeah.
no nice way to put it.
No.
And I am one of those people, and there's always divisiveness on this. they should have stopped the pay-per-view.
Should have stopped
Yep.
it.
Yeah, I think so
And
too.
one of the reasons why Owen Hart and Deborah and Jeff Jarrett, not only were they good, they were very good friends for real. Like Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart were very good friends. And like an hour after that happens, Jeff Jarrett's in a tag match. It's and here's a name from the past. It's Jeff Jarrett and Deborah against Val Venus and Nicole Bass.
Oh wow, Nicole Bass, who
Yeah.
also passed away.
Mhm.
Yeah. And Jeff Jarrett and Deborah have to stand in the corner, tagging in and out in the corner where Owen Hart died an hour
Yeah.
earlier.
And the board is snapped. Like there's an indent right where they have to come in and out. Like there's his blood is there. Like it wasn't a good situation. It should have never happened. That should have been over.
Yeah. And so shortly after that, I think when it was the next night, it was the Owen tribute show. It might have been right
Yep.
after that.
It
Jeff
was
Jarrett,
Raw the next night.
Jeff Jarrett wins the Intercontinental title from the Godfather. I think Owen was actually supposed to win
Yeah,
it.
Blue
Yeah.
Blaze was going to win, but
Yeah.
Owen
Blue
wasn't.
Blaze-
Yeah,
yeah.
so that was going to be the storyline.
And so he becomes the Intercontinental champion. He lost it a few times. We win it right back. Like they did a thing where he lost at the Edge at a house show and won at the pay-per-view the next night.
Mhm.
He lost it to D'Lo Brown and then won it back the next night. And it was like for the European title and the Intercontinental title because D'Lo had both. But Mark Henry turned on D'Lo and Jarrett gave him the European title. But the big thing that happens here is this is when, and again, something you could never get away with now. This is when Jeff Jarrett does a whole angle where he's a misogynist and he hates women.
Mhm.
He's beating up women. He's putting women in the figure 4 leg lock. He beat up Fabulous Moolah, Mae Young, Lillian Garcia.
Did
I
he
think
guitar shot Moolah
Young,
yeah.
or Mae
Yeah.
Young? Yeah.
Mae Young, yeah. Oh, Mae Young was crazy. Mae Young, you know the story with the Dudleys, right?
Yeah, that was the best.
Yeah, where she took
She smacks Bubby's like, treat me like one of the boys or I'll kick your ass or something.
Yeah,
like that.
if you don't hit me
She
hard, I'm
took
going to hit
top
you
rope.
back
She
harder.
took- top
she
rope.
took 2 bumps. She took one off the stage and then one off the top rope through a table.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's a fucking nut.
The other
She
thing I remember
was.
about this thing with Jarrett is this is when he put Ben Stiller in the figure 4 leg lock.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller was on like one of the early SmackDowns and Jeff Jarrett put him in the figure 4.
You know who Jeff Jarrett's most famous celebrity guitar shot is?
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
I thought you were going to say Gary. I thought you were going to say Gary Coleman.
Yeah.
He got Gary Coleman too.
Beetlejuice is that's top echelon right there.
Mhm. Who me?
The,
Oh wait,
the great one,
400 years old.
Don't get no better than Beetlejuice.
the great thing about the Gary Coleman one though, that was on a WCW pay-per-view, and Gary Coleman's wearing a baseball hat like this, and Jarrett whacks him with the guitar, and he takes a bump, and his hat falls off, and you see he had a giant stack of tissue paper to pad the bump, and it rolled out of the hat. It looked like the paper you would take out of the front of your shoe when you buy a new pair of shoes.
Yeah. That like. Oh God.
That was his muffler, baby.
What you talking about?
That is not how you use a muffler.
he
down on
wasn't
muffler
smartened up
baby.
on it.
That was kind of a foreshadowing too, because that's how Gary Coleman died, isn't it?
What?
Did he get hit by a bat or something?
I have no
I think
idea.
he fell down the
I don't know.
steps or something. I think he fell.
If Gary Coleman died by getting hit with a bat, that's
I
news
don't
to
know.
me.
Yeah.
I
wanna
know
say he fell.
his wife was at home at the time, and I don't know. I know there was a lot of questions what happened there.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I don't know the Mr.
See, they should have brought in
circumstances of
Webster to get even with Jeff Jarrett.
Oh, it's terrible.
that bike shop owner finally got him.
That's Ma'am and George.
And then, so this whole misogynist angle is leading to a feud with Jeff Jarrett and China, which is going to lead to the No Mercy pay-per-view that October in a good housekeeping match.
That was a good time too.
Where-
Him and China were rivaling. I
Yep.
liked it.
Mhm. The good housekeeping matches where they had like ironing boards and all these like
Yeah.
things
Eggs and flour.
yeah, rolling pins. And
It's like
so
stuff
that's
that women would use.
Yeah.
Let's put that in the ring.
And of all
That-
the women to do this with, you picked
China.
China,
Yeah.
who probably
And-
cooked an egg her whole life. She eats them raw.
and that is where China wins the Intercontinental title from Jeff Jarrett. But the real winner that night was Jeff
Jeff
Jarrett.
Jarrett.
Because his contract had expired at this point, and he was already planning on going to WCW. Vince Russo loved Jeff Jarrett. He was the biggest person pushing for Jeff Jarrett. We should have brought this up. He wanted Jeff Jarrett to work with Steve Austin, and Steve Austin did not want to do that. Steve Austin shot it down every time. He's like, "Do not put me with Jarrett."
There's like heat between them.
And the
right?
reason
Yeah.
why, because when he was in that USWA, they paid him so little
Mhm.
that he was still mad at Jeff, even though it was his dad, Jerry.
Yeah, well,
He
The-
still took it out on
Because Jeff got paid, but Steve
the
Austin got shit.
story with that is that backstage Austin is looking at this payoff sheet, and it's for like a weekend. It was for like 3 shots, and I think for the 3 shots combined, it was like he made $110 or something like that. And this is supposed to be their full-time job. It's not like indie wrestling now where like you're coming in, you might be making a little bit, if anything. Like these people, they wrestled 6 nights a week, but they're only making like $20 or $30 a night. And so he's looking at his payoff sheet and he's like, what the hell? And Jeff Jarrett, whose father owns the company, or is co-owner of the company, comes up to him and goes, looking at it's not going to make it any bigger. And that stuck with Steve Austin.
Wasn't there a thing too?
Forgot.
When Stone Cold did his Austin 316 and then Jeff Jarrett went out and cut a promo and said it was blasphemous, and he was like, you're trying to like tear down everything that he just did in his promo, and Stone, and I guess there was words backstage like, dude, you're fucking my money. Like this is a big push for me, and you're going out there and you're gonna just go rogue. But Jeff Jarrett was like, from what Jeff said from an interview I read, it was like I wasn't told anything. Like I was just told to go out there and say something. So the only thing I knew was it was a religious quote. So I tried to go out there and just play the opposite of what it was. Like I wasn't trying to bury him or anything. And I guess from that and then the past from before, Stone was like, I just won't do business with the guy.
And also he said he just didn't like Jeff Jarrett's offense. He didn't think he was that good.
Oh, he said he couldn't throw a punch or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, but now he's like one of the best. Like compared to people today, he can throw a punch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that'd have been a fun program to see with Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah. And then,
And Vince Russo was pushing for that too. And Vince Russo was one of Jeff Jarrett's biggest cheerleaders. Always wanted him to be a big main event player. And by the point that this China match is happening and Jeff's contract is expiring, Vince Russo has just went to WCW. This is when they signed Russo and Ferrara away from WWF, and they've taken over creative in WCW. So Jeff Jarrett's like, I'm going to jump.
Yeah, they said this was the end. WWF couldn't get back from this. I remember that was the thing. I'm like, oh, because everyone said, oh, Vince Russo is the cause of like all the stuff that's good in WWE. We'll see.
No, it turns out when you have 2 of the probably 5 best wrestlers in company history at the same time, you're going to be okay. When you have The Rock and Steve Austin, you're and Mick Foley and The Undertaker and Triple H, you're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
It's more about the talent than the guy putting them in that place. But Jarrett's contract was up, and he was still the Intercontinental Champion. And they were teasing the hell out of this match, building the hell out of this match. He didn't have to show up. He was not under contract at WWF, so he goes to Vince, and they say it was somewhere between $300,000 and $500,000 that he got just for that one match to come in and drop the title to China.
That's
and Vince
insane.
never forgot that. Vince, that becomes important later. Vince did not forget that.
It's like, you got me, but you'll fucking never get me again.
So Jarrett goes to WCW, immediately top level heel in a big feud with Benoit over the TV or the US title.
Real quick though. Don't mind that though, because fuck that. Like major corporations will get whatever. They'll bleed every fucking drop of blood out of you they possibly can. So good for fucking the small guy getting one over a fucking.
Stand up for yourself.
I totally agree.
Yeah, fucking good for Jeff Jarrett for getting that big fucking payday for one match. That's deserved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go ahead, up for yourself, 100%. And so Jarrett is then at the end of 1999. He is part of the big angle at the end of Starrcade. Unfortunately, that's the Starrcade where Goldberg clobbered Brett and gave him the concussion that ended his career. But the idea, the big angle there is that Bret Hart, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Jeff Jarrett are reforming the NWO.
Wasn't a super kick that fucking hurt?
It was like a rolling kick.
Yeah,
it wasn't like a
kick,
sweet chin music. It was like a rolling kick, and he just clocked him. And Bret wrestled for like a month. Like he just kept wrestling. And so that kind of ended the NWO angle before it began, and then that January is when Russo was forced out for a little bit, and they brought in like Kevin Sullivan to lead the writing team. That made Benoit quit, and Malenko and Guerrero and Perry Saturn, they all quit. So Jarrett's kind of in a big spot here. All these people are gone, so they elevate Jeff Jarrett to the main event. At that point, Sid was the champion, and Sid and Jeff Jarrett was a big thing. I think they did a 3-way with Sid, Jeff Jarrett, and Scott Hall. But it's going nowhere fast. They just lost all these people. WWF is as hot as they're ever going to be at this point.
It's a coffin on roller skates, like Tony Schiavone says.
Yeah, it's a coffin on roller skates. WCW in 2000 lost, I believe, $80 million, and there's a lot of reasons why.
Yeah, it was awful.
And
there was some good stuff, but mainly awful.
So Vince Russo is brought back in like March or April of that year. And Eric Bischoff is coming back too. Bischoff had gotten let go when they brought in Russo in like October of 99. And Jeff Jarrett is now going to become their number one heel. And they strip everybody of their titles. Sid gets stripped of the WCW title. All the champions
of the show.
Mm-hmm.
It was awful.
It was very bad. And their whole thing is they're going to have the New Blood and the Millionaires Club, which is like DDP, Sting, Flair, not Jarrett. Jarrett's New Blood, but all the established old guys.
Yeah.
All the established old guys and they're the baby faces.
Yeah.
The old guys who want to hold everybody down are the baby faces because it's Vince Russo and he's awful at writing.
Makes no sense.
and then the first match for the title is Jeff Jarrett against DDP. Jeff Jarrett wins the WCW World Title. I believe this is when Kimberly turned on DDP. But because they had the hot potato of the title so much, DDP wins the title back from Jarrett on Nitro, I believe, a few weeks later. And then they have a match where it's Jeff Jarrett and Bischoff against DDP and David Arquette. And whoever scores the pinfall wins the WCW title. And David Arquette pins Eric Bischoff.
Final nail in the coffin.
Mm-hmm. Tony Schiavone's idea. Because they're doing
Was
the
it
creative
really?
meeting.
As
not,
a joke.
not seriously.
Yeah.
They're like, let's just have David Arquette win the WCW title. And Vince was like,
they ran with it.
bro, think about what people will say.
Bro.
Think about what they'll say on the news.
Did that ship yet our comic?
I don't think that. Well, he said on his podcast it was with the boat situation, waiting to get into the dock.
It's officially on. It's officially here.
Oh, is it?
It's
Oh yeah, I'll check. I don't.
So with that, because this is when that Ready to Rumble movie was coming out and they had that big triple cage, the 3-tiered cage.
I just looked on IMDb to see. I could have sworn I thought Jeff Jarrett was in that movie, but he wasn't.
No, I think they shot it while he was still in WWF. I think that's how the timing on that was. So that's why he wasn't in it.
You see, I probably didn't because you don't have TikTok, but there's a TikTok video going. It didn't get a lot of trend, but I guess they're trying to say they're trying to go back and say that Sting was homophobic because in the movie when he's like, "You're a dude and I love you," and dudes love each other, and something like the line at the end, and Sting just punches him, and then Dave Arquette's like, "Punch me next, punch me next."
When that's his character, it's not.
Yeah, so I guess they're trying to say it was it was a homophobic.
By
line.
and large,
By
and large, in the 90s, wrestling was homophobic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wrestling fans were chanting
Just wrestling
homophobic
period was
slurs
homophobic.
at fucking wrestlers.
for years. And
Thank God for Goldust.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so that was the thing that's going around too. I'm like, that's fucking 90 whatever. And then that shit came out it's crazy.
So it all shakes out where Arquette turns on DDP because Vince Russo, and Jeff Jarrett winds up winning the WCW title there, and he's a champion for most of the way. He went back and forth with Flair a little bit, but at Bash at the Beach that year, the big title match is Jeff Jarrett and Hulk Hogan, and that's the match where the bell rings and Jeff Jarrett lays down right in the middle of the ring, and that's the end of Hulk Hogan in WCW. He wins the belt. He's like, bullshit like this is why the company's in the shape it's in. And he walks out, and then Vince Russo comes out and he's like, that bald son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And he's like, basically that night they're gonna have another title match, Jeff Jarrett against Booker T, and Booker T wins the WCW title there. And Jarrett, that was kind of the end of him as the top of the main event, because at this point Scott Steiner is going to become your number one heel, but he's still around. He's still a high level guy. And at the end of WCW, he's in the Magnificent Seven, which is this big heel faction. But then WCW obviously dies. They end in May or March of 2001. And on the final Nitro, where they do the simulcast with Raw because WWF is buying them,
When Shane McMahon bought the company.
Yeah.
Yes. But before that happens, before that big reveal at the end, Vince is gloating about buying WCW backstage. He's like, Jeff Jarrett is like, he's talking about how he used to spell his name here. I spell his name, and it's like GONNEE, gone. And basically, he publicly fires Jeff Jarrett. Basically, you got me for the $500,000, but you're not getting a job, was the thing here. And he didn't for a long, long time. But he did.
And that's when he went and did everything with TNA at the time.
Not yet.
Not quite yet. Yeah, he did some stuff with a thing out of Australia called World Wrestling All-Stars. I think there was a comedian in Australia. Or no, the comedian was Rove McManus. This guy, Andrew McManus, is just like a money mark in Australia. He did some stuff there. He was a world champion for a little bit. Road Dogg was there too. Nathan Jones was there. But then that kind of fizzled out. There were a lot of startups after WCW died, and then the money would fizzle out 6 months later. XWF was one. I think Jeff Jarrett might have been involved with that. That was Jimmy Hart's thing. They had Hogan. They did a TV pilot. It just didn't go anywhere. That XWF though had a very interesting announce team. Their announce team was Tony Schiavone and Jerry Lawler, which was a combination you wouldn't have thought ever happened, but
Yeah.
it did. Because that was when they fired Jerry Lawler's wife, Miss Kitty, and he quit too.
Yeah,
And that's
he's
when you
gone
had
for
Jim
6
Ross and
months.
Paul Heyman. Yeah, he was gone from like WrestleMania to Survivor Series that year, and the Raw team was Ross and Paul Heyman, and they were good. That was a great announce team.
Paulie would fire up JR.
Mhm.
Oh, he could get under Jim Ross's skin, yeah. So then around 2002, the World Wrestling All-Stars thing is gone. So Jeff and his dad, Jerry Jarrett, he hasn't been in wrestling for a while. USWA closed up shop before, but Jerry Jarrett's main business at this point was construction. There's a big firm in the South, Jarrett Construction, and that's where he made his money in wrestling, but he put it into this business and it was successful. In fact, J.J. Dillon, a lot of the time after WCW, he was working for Jarrett's construction company.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
And so Jerry Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett are going to start up NWA TNA, Total Nonstop Action. One of their big investors was this company called Health South, which is a big insurance company at the time. And they get everything set up and they debut in June of 2002. Their business model is weekly pay-per-views.
Yeah,
So instead of
$9.95.
instead of
Weekly. That's a lot.
instead of paying $30 a month for 1 3-hour pay-per-view, you can pay for a $9.95 for a 2-hour pay-per-view every week, or whatever week you want to.
It's a big ask.
Yeah,
$40 a month.
yeah.
It's a big
So
ask.
it would be equal to buying one pay-per-view, but like, who's gonna buy it? Fucking pay per show. It was like paying to watch Raw.
Yeah.
Yep. Good analogy.
I mean, if in a perfect world, if people are like understanding that they say, okay, if I'm going to pay $40 a month and 600,000 people do it, every wrestler should walk out of there with a nice chunk of money in their pocket, and it would be great for the business. So these guys who are risking their body are getting some money, but we all know that at the end of the day, people are going to pocket that, and a wrestler's still going to make his fucking hot dog and a handshake.
Yeah. And not a bunch of fans are gonna buy a pay every week,
Well,
even at $10.
A lot of fans are people who support art or support things like
and
this.
especially it's a new thing too. So
Yeah.
we're like, I don't know how
Exactly.
it is.
Yeah. I still hope in a perfect world where people are like, listen, I'll pay for a little more money to support someone who's more of an independent thing than what we're getting from them. Because like it's hard for someone to be like, oh, I'll sell my Patreon or this for that, and then people are like, WWE's giving me for $9 a month, I get everything that Peacock owns. It's like, I can't compete with that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And
the ends didn't justify the means there.
The idea was tossed around originally. The idea for weekly pay-per-views was something that WWF wanted to do first, and they did a test run this Tuesday in Texas right after the Survivor Series in '92, and it just didn't work, and they never did it again.
Yeah,
it flopped because that's when they had the Undertaker beat, or '91 rather. They had Undertaker beat Hogan in Survivor Series. And the big feud that nobody could touch was Randy Savage and Jake Roberts, because Savage lost a retirement match. So they said they're going to do this Tuesday in Texas, Hogan and the Undertaker in a rematch, and Macho Man is coming out of retirement. He's reinstated, and it still flopped. And they never tried weekly pay-per-view again.
A Tuesday's hard for pay-per-view.
Yeah. Michael, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining the chat. Also, real fast while we're doing this, Steven and Colleen, Sam and Elijah, thank you so much for the likes on Facebook and the people watching. If you made it this far, please hit that share button. Let people know what's going on. Also, you can join our community page over on our fan page over on Facebook. If you just type in Tornado Tag community page or fan page, whatever it shows up as, come join us, talk wrestling, and see some fun stuff. And head over to our new YouTube channel. Our goal is to hit that to 1,000 is the overall goal, but if we can hit 200, that'd be cool. I think we're at like 54 right now, which is pretty exciting. But yeah, if you just a quick, I guess, ad break in there, a little self-promotion. But yeah, if you guys are here, thank you guys so much. A lot of viewers still sticking around, hanging out with us, which is pretty awesome. Let us know in the chat your favorite Jeff Jarrett moments. We'll get them in there as we go along. All right. Sorry, Brian.
Oh, no, of course.
So Brian, I have a quick question. I mean, some of the research I was doing today, they were saying that Jeff actually took the money that Vince gave him for that Intercontinental title match to get out of WWE to make TNA. Like, he stored it away, and then he said that he took that money to start TNA.
I'm sure some of it got there. I don't know if he was. I don't know if he took that money like, I'm just going to put it in the bag in case I ever want to start my own promotion someday. Because
helped start his construction business.
No, it was the dad.
That was his dad's
Oh,
business. Like Jeff Jarrett wasn't living paycheck to paycheck. I don't think he was making some good money. So I would guess he had quite a bit in savings. But the thing with TNA, and we always joke about TNA and Impact, oh, they're never going to die. They're the cockroach of wrestling. No matter what, they're going to be around. They almost died very quickly. They came very close to death very quickly because the Jarretts, they did put a lot of their money in it, but they're smart. And that's where they got investors, and they wanted to turn a profit on this. They weren't just going to sink their money into this until it went away. This was a business to them. Like wrestling was their business. Like I'm sure they love wrestling, but it's a business. And if it wasn't going to make money, then that's not a good business. And so shortly after they started, like a few months after they started that summer, Health South, their big backer, went belly up. It was around the time you had a lot of those companies that had like those accounting schemes that just died, like Enron and WorldCom. Health South was one of those. So their big financial backer turned out to be a big fraud. And that was a lot of their money out of the window. And then they had a consultant who had worked with WWE before who like deliberately inflated the pay-per-view market. So they thought they were going to get X amount of buys and was dramatically lower because the pay-per-view market wasn't what they were led to believe it was for another wrestling company. He said he did all this research. He did no research. He just made up the numbers. And
that's great.
That guy would have gone to jail for something else. It wasn't that, but yeah, that guy was just a crook.
I gotta say, there's a million people watching us, by the way, right now. So
yeah.
Put it out there.
Billion people watching us. We're coming for you, Rogan.
100 million cajillion.
Yep. We're the Joe Rogan of wrestling podcasts. Just don't tell all the 100 million people that are not watching us right now.
Don't tell Conrad.
Yeah.
So they're in some big trouble, but Jeff Jarrett, he lives in a high-end condo. And one of his neighbors who had done some PR work for TNA, her parents owned a big energy company in Texas called Panda Energy. That would be Dixie Carter. And so he starts talking to Dixie Carter, and she's like, well, we could buy, my parents could buy a controlling stake in this company. And so they wind up, like, Jerry owned still part of it. I think like Panda owned the majority of it, but the Jarrett still owned a bit. And Panda Energy takes over as the main owners of TNA, and that's what kept them alive. Like they even had a thing in.
So WWE loses their logo to a panda, and then Panda Energy buys another wrestling company. That's hilarious
and
ironic.
It's so funny because you look at AEW and it's like, yeah, like they've got money and they're willing to spend it. Panda Energy was never really willing to sink a lot of money into this, like Shad Khan is willing to sink money in AEW, because Bob and Janice Carter, we always talk, like Shad Khan, Tony Khan's dad, could buy and sell Vince a lot. Bob Carter could buy and sell both of them.
Yeah.
Like Bob Carter had some serious money back then, like $10 billion or something like that. But they only put a little bit into TNA. And so Jeff Jarrett later that year wins the NWA title. So for the first 4 years of TNA, he's basically their Triple H at that point. He's the heel champion that always wins, to the point where fans are just sick to their stomach over it.
Well, isn't that kind of where the whole thing came with him, Triple H, where it's like, oh, your Triple H is the new Jeff Jarrett, where he's booking himself to be the champion.
Well, at this point, Triple H came first, because Triple H was doing it, or they're actually doing it around the same time.
Yeah.
But people would call him like Triple J sometimes.
Yeah. That was like the stigma, where it's like, the only reason he's getting over. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong, Jeff Jarrett's extremely fucking talented, and he's good at what he does, but it does help when you're pulling the strings.
I think Jeff Jarrett is a very good wrestler. He's not the guy you want as the cornerstone of your company.
Yeah,
real quick,
good guy to have around.
Jeff Jarrett's not the first guy who has control of our power in a company and puts himself over as a fucking champion.
That's the rule, not the exception.
Since the dawn of time in wrestling.
Yeah. So I don't want to say Jeff Jarrett was the first guy to fucking do it.
It's funny you bring that up, because and like I said, this could be a whole episode, but the people that Jarrett took the Memphis territory from, the Goulasses, Nick Goulas was the guy who ran the territory, and one of the reasons he killed the town and Jarrett was able to take it over was at the expense of more talented people. He wanted to push his son George Goulas as the champion of the territory, and that pissed off guys like Jackie Fargo and Jerry Lawler, who were bigger stars and better talents. So they all went with Jerry Jarrett, and they ran the Goulasses out of town.
Yeah. Now at this time, was there any? I don't know. I'm not trying to like spread up dirt or anything, but I'm just trying to remember what stuff I was listening to on like other podcasts. But like, wasn't there like a thing with Jeff Jarrett and Dixie Carter?
No. Sexually? No.
Or like
No.
who was the
We'll
supposedly
get to that in a second.
okay,
We're,
and then
we're headed there.
There was a storyline.
yeah, and then
Mm-hmm.
then there was things going on at this time too where Jeff may have had some substance or drinking issues. Or
That
is that
comes
later
later
too?
too.
Okay.
I mean, he might have then.
Yeah,
You don't know.
yeah.
He may have then.
But it wasn't like super public like it does
No.
later.
No,
Okay.
these things happen a bit later. So at this point, TNA's kind of chugging along. They get TV in 2006 on Spike TV. Well, they had a show on Fox Sports, but that was a time buy, and it was on at like 12 midnight on a Saturday. But they get TV with Spike in 2006, and things are they're doing okay. They're treading water basically, but they're firmly the number 2 company.
Yeah.
And
But even
then-
then, like what they got for ratings wise is way more than what Raw and SmackDown gets right now today.
No,
Well, not right there because like they were pulling, like,
they're about in line
Yeah.
with what AEW is doing now.
yeah, because they got up to, like when Bischoff was there, like sometimes they would do it like a 3 or a 4.
Oh, the demo, yeah. But as far as overall viewership, they
Yeah.
were usually around 1 million.
Yeah,
They're actually very similar to what AEW does now.
like at TNA at their highest, and then they would fall way.
But
way
1
down.
million viewers in like 2010 and 1 million viewers now
Yeah,
is
it's
different
different, yeah.
because like Raw's ratings are lower than ever. They're still higher than everything else on cable,
Yeah,
except for like news programs, which they don't do well in 18 to 49, and like sports.
Yeah.
And a few reality shows. But yeah, like Impact did okay for a little bit there until the
Yeah.
wheels fell off. They did okay. They would pull in maybe 1 million people an episode, which is about what AEW does now. But yeah, in demos they did do very well. And Spike, they were one of the higher rated shows on Spike
yeah.
when Spike was around. But Vince Russo was usually the creative guy there. Sometimes Dusty did it for a little bit. Scott D'Amore did it for a little bit. But Vince Russo, that's why Jerry Jarrett leaves TNA fairly early on because he was told that Vince Russo would not be involved, and he was from day one. They brought him in on TV later, like in 2003, but he was there from day one, like backstage as the guy writing everything. You could tell by how like one of the teams on the first episode is the Johnsons, and they're just giant flesh color guys with like big wrestling penises, and it's Vince Russo all over it. So
Sounds like I would love it.
they had a wrestler called Cheeks, Chex, just a big fat guy whose butt's hanging out because Rikishi's over, and his valet is called Brown Eyed Girl.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Can we get Vince Russo on the podcast? This guy, he needs a book.
Maybe. So, Jarrett does take a leave of absence in 2007, and he did so unfortunately because his wife died. His first wife Jill died in 2007, and he still worked backstage, but that was like kind of he took a break as a regular TV character. He came back in a way he was more of a baby face against the Main Event Mafia, but then in 2009 he gets pulled off of TV again, and I think this is where you're going, Tony. It wasn't Dixie Carter that he had a kind of romantic thing with. It was Karen Angle.
Yep.
And it was like Kurt and Karen Angle. It's Kurt Angle's first wife. I think they were separated at the time, but the hope was they were going to work it out.
And they were on screen characters though.
Yeah, they were on screen as a couple.
It's always really smart to do.
Yeah.
Chris Benoit,
my wife, but now I don't have a wife.
Kevin Sullivan,
Macho Man.
If you are
Edge and Lita,
Well, that worked out.
Matt Hardy and Lita,
Matt Hardy and Lita,
yeah. There's a million of them. There's a million of them.
Rusev and Lana. I mean, she lost him to Bobby Lashley.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Come on.
Bobby Lashley's pretty hot though. I mean,
He is a hot
come
guy.
on.
Have you seen
Bobby-
those glutes?
Yeah, Bobby Lashley, Crystal Marshall. There was a lot of strife there where apparently there was an issue there where the two of them quit the company. Drew McIntyre.
Did Crystal Marshall get fired and then Bobby Lashley quit?
Pretty
Was that
much, yeah. And then like Drew McIntyre, when he was there, he was with Taryn Terrell. She was like Tiffany at that point. And they had like a very rough breakup, and he got so much heat for it. Like he stuck around for a little bit with like 3MB, but it killed his push the first time around. So yeah, Jarrett went away for a while, not too long. Like water went under the bridge, and
trying to let it blow off a little bit because I know that's the one thing I was listening to. He had a lot of backstage heat for that.
Yeah,
And it came out on the radio. It was announced on the radio.
on Bubba the Love Sponge. Yeah,
That's right.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Mhm.
It is someone who had like a Black Scorpion voice called in and said that
Oh,
Jeff
God.
Jarrett was having an affair with Karen Angle. That's how I found out about it.
Yeah.
I was listening to the show that day.
It's like a dirt sheet type thing where it's
Yeah.
just kind of.
And he had like the jock show. So it was like,
Mhm.
ooh.
He loved to mess with wrestlers, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Do you remember that?
Hogan,
Brian?
too.
Did you hear that when that was on? back
No, I
then?
read about it. I never listened to that show.
I listened
But
to
I
Bubba
remember
then
that.
he like right when he was almost off Sirius.
Yeah, when he was on Sirius is when I listened.
I was Team XM. I didn't listen to a lot of the serious people.
He was
I-
Opie. He was an Opie and Anthony guy.
I was a
I'll
Ron
never
and
forget
Fez guy.
that.
Ron
That was
Fez
a
guy.
total shoot when that happened too, because that dude called in and whoever it was and disguised his voice just like
Probably
Black
Russo.
Scorpion. Yeah, it was probably Russo. And he's like,
Them voice things, they were so
Mm-hmm.
goofy.
Mhm.
What's your favorite scary movie?
But then they do wind up as the old school wrestling thing goes. Let's make an angle out of it. So they do Jeff and Karen, or Jeff and Karen against Kurt, and they do an angle over it. But Jeff Jarrett was kind of losing power because that's when they brought in Hogan, and Bischoff was really getting a lot of power. And Jeff kind of was put in charge of this thing called Ring Ka King they tried to do, where they were trying to do a promotion in India.
Yeah, I remember what was it? King Mo. Ooh.
Yeah, India was like kind of, because it's considered an emerging market and you didn't have like the political things of trying to get into China. It's like there's a billion people there, so if we can monetize this, there's a gold mine.
Yeah,
That's why Jinder Mahal was a WWE champion. That's the only reason Jinder Mahal
he was
a WWE
fantastic.
champion.
Stop it.
I saw a thing, and this is so true, that now Jinder Mahal has had better WWE title reigns than Rey Mysterio, than Drew McIntyre,
Big E.
and Big E.
I will say this to the day I fucking die. His storyline and the way they booked his title run was better than most fucking title runs at that point in time.
Andy, do you want to say it or should I say it?
No.
No. What was the problem with Jinder Mahal's title reign?
It sucked.
Sometimes
Story wise, do you think he was Jinder Mahal was booked better as a champion than Big E was?
Until that bell had the ring.
Sometimes that goddamn bell's
that-
gonna ring.
The storyline, wrestling. I'm obviously yes, the bell has to ring. But wrestling,
I don't remember anything.
wrestling-
I remember he won the title, and I was like, "Oh my god, he won the title!"
more people talked about Jinder Mahal's title run. And
Yeah,
the
because they're
storylines
saying,
and
"Oh my
everything.
god, why is Jinder Mahal champion?" That's
It,
why
wa-
they
it was
talked
it was
about
on the same level as David Arquette. That's not a good thing.
WWE put more effort into the
yeah,
title run of
Wait,
Jinder Mahal than they did
go
Big
back,
E.
go back. They talked about it, right?
Sure.
If I beat Hangman Page next Wednesday on Dynamite, people will be talking.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
What
won't
I'm
be
just
good.
saying is
It's
more
not good.
effort was put into his title run than most title runs if they're not Roman.
Yeah,
or Brock
because
Lesnar.
because Vince made him his pet project, and then you get attention.
Because they wanted to get India for some reason.
Yeah,
But I was like, "There's a better wrestler from India somewhere in there. Like, just get them."
which goes to
The
show
Singh
that
brothers.
you just need to have the company behind you, and not every person
you
who
do,
gets a
but-
title has the company behind them while they're doing it.
But it can also be the company's behind you, but you're not fit for the role, and it doesn't work out.
I didn't hate his title run only because it was more interesting than most of the title runs that I've seen at that point in time.
I hated it.
And then Brock said, "I'm not wrestling him at Survivor Series," and they put
Yeah.
the title on AJ for a year.
AJ,
Brock.
AJ was a good move because AJ was a good champion, but also
AJ is fantastic.
AJ is just great at everything he does. But like,
And they booked him like shit.
Yeah.
McIntyre wasn't booked as a good champion. Like he beat
He-
Sheamus. Like that was like that's
The other
Yeah,
thing
was
too
like,
is Jinder was a heel, and WWE can't book at all right now, but they can book heels better than baby.
they book
Yeah.
heels way better than they book
Mhm.
baby faces. But no, I'm not saying Jinder Mahal is the greatest wrestler of all time. I'm just saying his
Well,
title run
thank
was
you.
more more interesting than fucking most title runs that we've seen recently that are not your big main guys. Like
No.
he was a guy who was not a big guy who they were trying to go, or he wasn't a big name. He was
Well,
just
no,
somebody-
yeah, that's true. But
Yeah.
was it interesting? No.
No.
I thought it was. I'd watch his title run, his matches, and his build up and his stories
You'd
week
watch
to
his
week
matches.
more than I would watch.
I would watch his match and turn it off. I just couldn't take it.
Yeah, I'd
Like,
fall asleep.
yeah,
Yeah, it was
I don't
one of
think
the
he
few
was
times
great.
that the WWF title match would be the popcorn match.
Yeah.
yeah. It
The-
would be.
the
I'm going to
bathroom
get
break
something
match.
to snack
mean,
on, or
And I like Big E as a wrestler more, but I just
Me too.
His title runs and his matches were not
Flat.
interesting. They were
Yeah, 'cause
boring
they,
as
I
they
will
can't
agree
put the
with that.
baby face to
He
save their
wasn't
life.
great on the mic as he was with New Day.
Mhm.
I think that hurt Big E.
Yeah.
And when he won the title, he should have been a heel when he won that title. I think it would have been a better reign.
Well, he would have been pushed better because he's a heel.
And he was a heel when he first came in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I like when he was the creeper and he was looking at AJ and Dolph Ziggler making out.
And he was a
AJ
John,
Lee.
he was a John Cena guy too.
Yeah.
Big E.
All right, let's get back to Jeff. Sorry, we're running a little long.
So around 2014, Jeff Jarrett sees the writing on the wall that this is not working out with Impact. So he steps out, he sells a lot of his shares, and he starts up Global Force Wrestling. He's going to start up his own company again, and they do a set of TV tapings in Vegas. It never got picked up. They did a ballpark stadium tour in, I believe that was 2016. I was at one of those shows in Harrisburg.
Yeah.
And that's where like they did the thing, and like you could get the picture in the ring for $20. So me and my buddy and everybody that we went with, we all got the picture in the ring with Jeff Jarrett and Kevin Nash. And Jeff Jarrett had a little bit of alcohol in his breath that night.
Get it?
So he didn't wrestle. I mean, he didn't wrestle that night, so he wasn't putting anybody in danger.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
how is Vegas not a wrestling town? Like I never,
because it's a transient town. Like it's all
probably
tourists.
expensive to run, and
all
it's
those
probably just not
venues
worth
and
it.
buildings. You think someone could fucking set up shop and run in Vegas?
But a lot of
How
people would
many
have to
floors-
travel.
You know who
to
did that?
Vegas.
You know who did that? Glow. That's
Yeah.
where Glow ran.
I think just for how many tourists come in that city every fucking week looking for something to do and something different to do.
Yeah, but
and it's so fucking cheap to get into Vegas. So if you're a wrestling fan and people want to go
if
there,
you're a wrestling fan that's
Yeah.
going to Vegas,
Didn't the UWF run there for a little bit? Herb Abrams.
Blackjack Brawl. They did
Yeah.
their big shows there. Tapings. AWA taped there for a bit.
Mhm.
Glow tape there because we would usually find a casino and be like, hey, like we'll put your signage all over and give us a break on the cost of tape. And Wrestle Rock was in Vegas, the Wrestle Rock Rumble, very classic. Nowadays, like AEW runs a show there every year. Double or Nothing is always in Vegas when there's not a
people are
pandemic.
clamoring to get inside that new stadium. Like
Money in the
is
Bank is
stadium
going to
there?
be in that stadium this year.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
everyone's like, we can't wait for that stadium to be the fucking pay-per-view. It's like,
Yeah, they're doing Money in the Bank 4th of July weekend in that stadium.
makes sense. Money in the Bank in Vegas.
Vegas,
money.
yeah.
I like that Atlantic City is getting more wrestling shows again.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
I've never been there, so I can't say anything about life.
It's fucking terrifying.
It's terrifying. Yeah.
Stay
It's
on the
like, you do
boardwalk.
not- you
Stay
do
on the
not wanna
boardwalk. You'll be
you-
all right.
yes.
Then why do you
that's
like
right,
the
Brian's
shows
right.
are going there?
Do not stay anywhere else but the boardwalk.
Dude, even the
Like,
boardwalk, you're not safe.
and it's upsetting
love-
because there
love
is
it
some
there.
nice shops and everything down off.
Just don't.
There was outlets and stuff
Don't walk
like
to
down
'em.
by the Sheridan, but you can't no more. You gotta
I guess
stay-
I won't be going.
Dude, we pulled in. We went to Atlantic City for like a birthday party, and we pulled into this hotel parking lot to meet people, and we pulled into the wrong one because we like, oh, we can walk there. No, we couldn't. and we got out of the car, and immediately got out of the car, and a homeless, really really high guy literally was talking to himself, looked at me and my buddy, and says, "I'll fight these two motherfuckers right now," and said it to himself. And I looked at my buddy. I'm like, we're fighting right now.
Did he
Like,
did he control the weather though?
No,
Did he control the weather?
that guy was that guy was actually polite. He was just screaming at himself. He didn't verbally tell his imaginary friend he was going to fight me. That guy was just screaming at himself in a mirror.
Yeah, Tony had a run in with a guy who could control the weather at a Wawa.
I was at Atlantic City once at Bally's when Bally's was open, and Bally's was like connected to the hospital somehow. And there was this one guy, honest to God, and you could ask Sammy about it. There was this one guy wheeled his IV in his hospital gown into the casino trying to play blackjack. I was like, oh my God.
That's a gambling problem right there.
The problem is right.
I need 34cc stat. I gotta go play slots.
Yeah.
His whole ass was his ass hanging out.
He had
Was it
boxers
Terry
underneath
Funk
it, but it was a hospital gown and boxers, and there he is wheeling his IV right up to the blackjack
At the
table. I
dish
was like,
pan.
oh my
Like
God.
that billboard. When you have money, can all you think about is gambling?
Just a guy with an IV in a casino.
That is honest to God truth.
Oh,
All right, let's wrap this up here.
So closing the book on Jarrett here. He came back to TNA a few times, or in like 2015, 2017.
yeah. They tried to combine Global Force and TNA,
Yeah.
and they had a million titles, and then they finally just
Yeah.
did away with it.
Well, one of the reasons they did away with it is in 2017, Anthem had already taken over the company, and they were going to merge with Global Force Wrestling. There was even talk that they're going to retire the Impact name and call the whole thing Global Force because Impact had a bad brand image. But then Jeff Jarrett shows up at a real Canadian wrestling show, and he is very, very drunk. They said he passed out backstage, and then they had him go out to do his match, and it got all over YouTube. And Impact immediately cut ties with Jeff Jarrett, and they got rid of all Global Force Wrestling names and things like that. Oh, we didn't even bring up Global Force Gold.
Yeah.
Once it became clear that Global Force wasn't really going to make it as a wrestling company, Jeff Jarrett started to sell gold. Global Force Gold. You can buy a little bit of gold from Jeff Jarrett.
That's
and
when selling gold was real big.
Then you can sell it to your friends, and it's not a pyramid scheme at all.
Yeah, and then they can sell it to their friends.
Yeah.
That
And
sounds
then
like a pyramid
So
scheme.
there's a big base at the bottom, and it gets smaller and smaller at the top. And it's not a pyramid scheme, even though it looks like this.
It's an upside down funnel.
Yeah. It's a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
So this whole thing where he shows up in no condition to perform at the Cindy show, that is the end of his relationship with that. It's really the end of Global Force Wrestling. But it is the beginning of him. WWE paid for him to go to rehab. And shortly after that, that next year, WWE inducts him into the Hall of Fame. He's paid his penance at this point for that, holding up the money for the China match. And he goes in the Hall of Fame. It's a memorable induction. Him and Road Dogg are singing "With My Baby Tonight" in the crowd. And you think, okay, that's cool. Jeff Jarrett had his moment in the sun. And then the Royal Rumble comes around in 2019, and number 1 is Elias, and number 2 is
Jeff
Double J.
Which is a pretty cool spot.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Wait, who was in that induction? That's
him and Rhodey.
No, I'm saying who else?
Road Dogg.
Who else was on the Hall of Fame?
I forget.
Is that not? That's not the one with that was Goldberg, right?
It may have been. I don't know.
I just remember people were into Jeff Jarrett's, and then by the end they left because whoever
there was the one year it went so long that people were leaving by Goldberg
because a lot of people would go
that year.
Yeah,
they go like Mr. T kept going and going.
Those Hall of Fame shows would always run too long.
Yeah, I never liked the Hall of Fame shows. There's too much blowing smoke up people's asses. I don't care.
Some inductions, like the Bushwhackers, were really funny. I remember.
Yeah, shorter.
Jake the Snake had a great induction.
Flair talked for over an hour.
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett was the same year. It was 2018. It was the Dudleys, Goldberg, Ivory, Jeff Jarrett, Hillbilly Jim. Who went long. I remember he went very long.
Oh, boy.
Mark Henry, who I'd imagine that went long because it takes Mark Henry 10 minutes to say 3 sentences.
Yeah.
The Dudley Boys and Kid Rock in the Celebrity Wing.
I remember Larry Zabisco. Wasn't he an inductee?
Oh,
he was supposed like for an hour and 10 minutes.
Remember when Triple H kept coming out and like telling Flair to like wrap it up?
Yeah.
Flair just like get away from me.
The Mr. T one's the classic one because they brought Kane out.
That
They
was
played
the
his
best.
music and everything.
That was the
To tell
best
Kane
one.
to Mr. T to wrap it up.
Yeah,
I love
because
my
I was-
mother
Do
on
you
Father's
expect
Day.
anything less from Flair? Honestly,
no.
I wouldn't expect anything less from that man.
I know
And-
Trump made the joke that he can shoot somebody in Times Square and get away with it. I think Flair can do the same thing. I think Ric Flair can do anything he wants, and people will get mad for like 5 minutes and then they'll be over it.
There are still people that are mad at Flair over the plane ride thing.
Oh, he'll show up on TV next week and people won't give a
Yeah.
fuck.
Oh yeah.
That's true.
The guy survived a plane crash. When he was sick a few years ago.
He survived 2 plane
Like,
incidents.
yeah.
Probably not gonna manage Andrade anymore, but
I don't.
Yeah.
I still think that's gonna happen.
really?
Yeah,
Why?
I think it'll still happen.
Why?
He's untouchable. He's Ric Flair. If
But why would you put Ric Flair with his daughter's ex?
they're not, they're
No,
still together.
I think they're still
Together.
together. Yeah.
Are they?
that was, all,
together.
that was all a rouge. That was their.
Yeah.
the-
Rules for what?
well, people just said, "Oh, they're not following each other," and made their own story.
Yeah.
No, they
I
never.
think- I
They never
think
came out and
they
said they weren't.
Remember they had that Andrade like cursed WWE or something after they done something to Charlotte. So I think after Charlotte's heat with Becky about throwing the belts and everything, and then Andrade said something negative toward
Yeah.
WWE.
That was
That
all
makes no
fans.
sense.
I
though,
think
'cause, like,
they unfollowed each other to try and make it look that way.
But
and
everyone in
cool
the
down
know
a bit.
would still be in the know.
Yeah, but they never
So-
purposely. They never came out and said we're not.
I thought they were
together.
done.
No, that was just
No.
people making their own story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're still together.
They just put a whole. If you want, they just put a whole thing out of saying like our 2021 was a great year, and they both put pictures of each other still out. And then Ric Flair said, "My son-in-law, I hope to manage." him
Oh,
one day."
yeah.
yeah, it's gonna happen. Yeah, they're still.
Because Andrade can't do a promo.
Well, he just learned English like 2 years ago. He's
He
still.
couldn't. He can't do a promo in Spanish.
I mean, I don't know Spanish, so I can't tell you.
Yo, so I break you.
When he speaks, it's marbles.
He will be the one wrestling Avery Good on Dark Elevation this week
There you go.
or next
That's
week.
that's fucking.
Hey, we're great in the ring though.
Awesome.
Excellent. And so with Jeff Jarrett, that Royal Rumble stint turned into a job. He was working with WWE from I believe early 2020 it was until early 2021. They parted ways.
He was part of budget cuts.
Yeah, budget cuts. And then he got into the podcast game. He has a podcast with Conrad. He's part of that Conrad Thompson empire. And he it's called like My World, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Jarrett. And as we said, the reason we're talking about him now is just very recently he showed up in GCW. So still going after all these years. Coming
Looks
up
like
on
looks like
coming
he's
up
gonna
on
do an angle
40
with
years.
Effie. Yeah.
40 years. Wow. That's
40
crazy.
years in wrestling, coming up in his whole life, really. But
Yeah.
if he's still wrestling here and there in 2026, which isn't that far away now, that would be 40 years in the business.
Well, listen, if you want to, especially if you're starting up your own promotion again and you're trying to get eyes on it, and the indie scene is a launching point. You show up at a GCW or a W or whatever. What's the gorilla one?
PWG. I don't think Jeff Jarrett's coming to PWG.
Yeah, I don't see him there.
I'm not saying
just him.
I'm not saying him in general. I'm just saying anyone. You show up in one of those things and you make a big enough buzz, especially if you're an old guy coming back out of it, or you show up at a signing, or you show anything like.
Well, the classic one with that is PCO.
Points.
PCO doing that crazy stuff, that match with Walter. He put himself back on the map.
Yeah, I can definitely see PCO showing up and doing a one-off somewhere. Like, I don't think he'll be a full-time player on a company, but showing up.
I think he'd be perfect in NWA.
Yeah, he's fucking amazing. You know what I mean? So like, Jeff Jarrett showing up at
Jeff Jarrett will show up in NWA.
Who knows? You know, I'm not saying it'll be a full-time thing, but
no,
I wouldn't count him showing up and being a part of AEW for a spot here and there.
Maybe a spot, but I don't know where you.
I don't think you're gonna see anything long-term,
like a manager role, or like how they every now and then when they do like
they have enough managers.
When Bischoff comes out and fucking does
something like that,
something like that. Like I could see him showing up and doing something like
more than him. I could see Road Dogg as a manager, just because Road Dogg's a
yeah.
little bit of a better promo than Jarrett.
I can see Road Dogg being part of your backstage stuff.
Yeah.
Like maybe not on camera, but helping out backstage with like setting.
But they have so many good people already. Of
the people that just got released,
Regal.
Maybe Gabe, definitely Regal.
Well, some writers got released too that were pretty good, right?
They did, but there's new writers.
No,
they pride themselves on not having writers.
Oh,
they don't need no writers.
All right. Well, that's the topic of Jeff Jarrett. Let us know what you think. Comment below if you're watching this back later, or if you're listening to the audio only. Leave a review. Reviews go a long way. If you head over to Apple, if you're watching still live and you're right after this is done, head over and leave a review on Apple, or head over to Spotify. You can leave a review there. It goes a long way. It helps us out. Head over to our new YouTube page. Give that a subscribe, and you can check out the merchandise. Everything's there. You can see us pretty soon at PPW, January 15th, the con, as well as a show after
Slam Fest.
Just announced Lance Archer.
He was announced.
Veda Scott, Bob Backlund.
What's his name? That tags with Rhino. Heath Slater.
Heath Slater
will also be wrestling that night.
Oh wow!
Mercedes Martinez.
Oh, she's gonna be there. Wow.
Yep. She's gonna be there.
Mercedes just for the con, not for the.
A lot of some of the guys would just be the con and not the wrestling.
Yeah,
not the night.
It's gonna be a really fun show. So come on out, hang out with us, PPW.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be Alpha Jr. and Heath Slater against Team Ruda. It's Joey Martinez, and I can't tell who this other guy is.
Oh, geez,
Tremendous somebody.
No, I'm not sure. I'll have to look at the card then. But yeah, it's gonna be a good time. So come out and hang out with us at a PPW.
If you're a wrestler, D'Lo Brown is doing a seminar.
Yeah. D'Lo Brown's a cool dude. I got to do a commentary with D'Lo Brown for one match.
Santana Garrett will be in attendance and in action on the show.
You should probably see myself and Brian helping somebody with a meet and greet. So you can come up and say hi to us and get an autograph from whoever we're sitting with. Fingers crossed that you get somebody cool.
The other guy,
I mean, there's not a bad person to be there with.
Tagging with Joe Martinez is Vinnie Mac. That was in that match.
Okay.
Okay.
The one we had the 6-man.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see the match, so I didn't recognize him.
Well, let's turn over to Andy. I think no wrestling shirt you're wearing, but tell us what wrestling shirt you're wearing, as well as what you got to plug.
I have a Tony Storm shirt on because I can't wait to see her in AEW.
Well, I know we didn't talk about it in the news because it slipped my mind, but Thunder Rosa pretty much put a tweet out saying, I can't handle these 3-on-1s every week. Every week I'm getting jumped by all these people. So she's kind of hinting at a stable, or maybe bringing in some backup. And then shortly after that tweet came out, an unrelated tweet, but Athena, which formerly known as Ember Moon, said Athena has risen and she is ready for war.
Yeah.
So
No brainer,
fuck-
just bring her in.
fuck
Yeah.
No
You
brainer.
sign her.
Chills
You,
already.
you fire some people if I sign her. And Tony Storm.
Yeah. So
Private Party. See you later.
I like Private Party, but
But Private Party or Ember Storm, Ember Storm.
Ember Storm,
There you go. That's the tag team.
the women's division in AEW with the names that are out there right now, with like a Taya Valkyrie
Mhm.
and Ember and not EO,
Tegan
Knox,
Knox.
Tegan
Yeah,
Knox.
that's
and,
a nerve.
and
Like,
Timber,
you gotta
Tony
hire
Storm.
her.
There's so many fucking. I mean, Camille is still out there. Not you can sign her, but you
I
can
think
bring
she
her in to
signed
work.
TNA, yeah.
What's her
Or
name too?
NWA.
Who's really big with friends with she's
Chelsea Green.
Chelsea Green is out there, as well as who's the other one she's a champion right now, but she's
Deanna
still
Purrazzo.
Deanna Purrazzo can
Yeah.
show
I think
up.
she
in
has.
Iwep.
I think she has a contract with Impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
She
I'm
will
saying
also be at Pocono
Deanna
Slam.
Yeah,
Purrazzo will
yeah,
also be
yeah.
there. Yeah, so there's a lot of fucking cool names out there that people. How is no one? I mean, I know she's also at Impact, but like Rachel Etherling is another big name you can grab. Like she's good.
Yeah, I think she signed Impact.
Yeah, but like the women's division right now is stacked, and it can only get better at AEW. So it's interesting to see who Thunder
Mhm.
brings in as some backup. Maybe we'll just get her and
Or maybe it's they never
just
did
put
do
two,
anything with that.
just to put two people who are already in the company and just throw her with her.
Oh
But
god.
One
Ty
of them is
and
going to be
Anna
Nia
Jay.
Jax.
Oh.
Nia Jax is out there.
No,
She said she's done.
I just said it
Yeah,
as a
I was
joke.
gonna
but
say I think I read an article somewhere that she's saying she's done now. She's
Which
gonna
is-
move
That's
on.
just a cover up.
That's
It's
for-
wrestling.
that's for
Pro
the best.
wrestling.
For wrestling,
That's
she's coming, baby.
for the best. She could please be done.
now that the feud is over,
Please be done with Swole,
Worst
right?
wrestler ever.
Yeah.
Now that the feud is over with Bunny and
Penelope.
Penelope Ford, I could see Anna Jay and Ty Conti being Thunder Rosa's
Oh yeah,
backup.
yeah. There you
Yeah,
go.
they can just throw those in there, and then it'll be everyone like, "Mwah."
Yeah, boo.
I wanted a debut. And
Yeah.
AEW has too many people, but I still want debuts.
I'll take a debut every week.
I'm not paying them.
Not
I'm
yet.
not paying them.
I'm not paying them either.
I'll gladly go and fire some people so they can
Yeah.
make us some room.
Yeah, but yeah,
So opposite ends of the spectrum here. You want to bring more people on. You want to
I want to trim that roster
Oh,
down for them.
Bring people in, but there's some dead weight.
Yeah.
There's definitely some
I
dead
want to help
weight.
them out a little bit.
listen, I'm not saying everybody needs a contract. Bring them in for a one-off spot.
Well, they could. If you had a competent TBS champion that could do open challenges every week, there you go.
Yeah, I mean,
not right now.
All right, here's a challenge. Who would you fire? Two girls that you would fire on the AEW
Oh,
roster.
two girls. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's I'd probably get rid of Rio.
I have one.
Yeah, I would like that too.
I would get rid of Penelope Ford probably.
And Rio.
Yeah.
Okay, and who would you bring on?
Big,
Right.
Big
Out
Swole
of-
would have been on my list though.
Yeah, but she's
Yeah,
gone.
she's
She's
gone.
already
Yeah.
Who would I
gone.
bring in
So
right now?
you picked your Riho
Is Leva
and
Bates
Penelope.
still under contract?
Oh yes, Leva Bates. Oh, I changed my thing. Leva
I'm
Bates.
sure she's a nice person, but
Yeah,
it
she-
wasn't
bringing-
anything
I met her.
for me
She's
to-
a very nice person.
yeah. Am I bringing in Independent Town, or am I bringing in people who were just released?
No, what was the question?
Either or. And it doesn't matter, but it only can be two. I said, who would you fire out of the current AEW women's roster?
No, okay. Well,
Who would
we
you
don't
trim
need
the
that
fat then? You said Leva.
one. Okay, Leva and then Penelope Ford.
Yeah, Ember Moon and Tony
You would
Storm.
keep Rio then. Okay.
Ember Moon, Tony Storm would be my two. I'd
Yeah, I then and then I would fire
Wait, I gave you two.
I'd
I
fire Leva Bates and and,
going on.
and the bunny, sorry, and
He's-
your husband can go too, because we gotta bring in Tegan Knox.
He's going on a firing spree like Vince McMahon.
Yeah, I wouldn't fire people. I'd just let their contracts run out.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
that's what they're
yeah.
doing.
Yeah, that's what
that's
they're
basically
doing.
what they're
it's,
doing.
it's the good guy way.
We're
to-
playing. What is it? What is it? Kayfabe or
AEW can literally, if they're essentially booking themselves to be a super indie anyway. That's kind of the angle they're going for. Not everybody needs a contract.
Not everyone needs, but there's some people you should put, like Keith Lee.
Absolutely, yeah. There should be some guys on there, but I like the fact that you're like, hey, we don't really have any storyline for you, but like, we'll put you on as like a guy, like say you're elite, and then
Yeah,
go make some
you
money in
can-
the
you can
indie scene
always-
and do autograph signings
You can always do
because all those
involved.
fans are going to eat it up. The
Well, you
market's
think
big
about
enough
it.
for everyone to make money.
Matt Cardona did the same thing. He went on AEW for a short little stint there with
Yeah.
with Cody,
Mhm.
and then went out and killed it on the indie
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah, and he showed up and we're like, man, this is boring again. Like him as that green face baby, is
Yeah,
like
I
boring
think
as fuck. And then
He
he went out-
learned from that. Like
Mhm.
he did. I thought the contract was coming, but it wasn't because he was still the same. No one wanted Zack Ryder in AEW,
yeah,
but they want this Matt Cardona in AEW now. But
100%.
an Impact.
he's killing the game. Jeff, what do you got to plug? All right, Andy, do you have anything else to plug? I just asked you your T-shirt.
No, they did PPW, and then there's Backbreakers on the 29th.
Yeah.
or 20th.
Did you reach out about that yet?
No, I did, but I know he said something about fight. I'll ask him. See what
All
he
right, let me
says.
know.
I know he's being very conservative with
Cautious.
it,
Yeah,
so
I mean, if we
it's-
can't go and record it, I
it's probably
completely
not,
understand.
yeah.
But I just want to find out before we do anything. Go ahead, Jeff.
I'll be playing at the Borgata on Saturdays throughout February.
And he's wearing a vintage Dudley Boys t-shirt.
Sit down comic. There you go. What do you got?
Truth Behind the Illusion on Tuesday. Check it out. Some ghost stories we're gonna be telling. Some ghost stories from around here. Some Pennsylvania ghost stories. So come check that out. Other than that, no, I'm good.
Tree of Life reached out to us, and they have a lot of cool things planned for us for future episodes.
Cool.
We might have someone who's going to tell us about the Galactic Federation, which is exciting. We have somebody who we might do a meditation episode, and then
It's just us sitting there.
might be.
Can you imagine that for an hour?
Gonna,
No one's saying a word.
No, we're just going to breathe into the
Well,
microphone.
You've heard of silent movies. This is silent podcasting.
Yeah.
So a lot of cool stuff. And then a lot of the Tree of Life stuff will be live on location, so you can come and physically see the podcast live and participate and hang out. So that's going to be a cool thing to look out for. Banging. Oh, go ahead. Anything else?
Nope. No.
Banging Beers this Friday is our birthday. So it's the birthday of Banging Beers this Friday, and we are going to be going to the Little Brown Barrel in Minersville. They're doing a tap takeover, and Trogs will be there, and right now the big beer for them is Nugget Nectar, and they always come out with variants of the Nugget Nectar, like a double and a
Don't
triple.
say variants right now.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Do
say
they have
variants.
a chicken?
They have a
nugget
different
flavor?
word.
No.
They have great food there.
Yes.
Great food.
But the
I didn't realize they serve food until I seen it on Facebook today.
the
Somebody
food's-
posted
food's fantastic.
the menu.
Yeah, really good stuff there.
So you can get the double Nugget Nectar, which is going to be like a special only at certain locations, and Little Brown Barrel is one of those locations. We're not doing anything for the podcast. We're just going as a podcast to support and see Trogue stuff, and I think they're giving away merchandise, so you can get some cool Nugget Nectar swag, and come hang out with us at the Little Brown Barrel this Friday. Sunday we're recording an episode, and that's pretty much all I got. Support the networks, check out some shows. Shares, likes go a long way. It helps us out more than you know. I say it and say it and say it, but it does help. You know, we're not famous, and I'm not paying an algorithm to give me fake numbers to say that we're doing.
And
good.
what do you get out of it? Nothing.
Nothing. I tried it a few times where I put like $40 on a video on Facebook, and 4,000 people watch, and I'm like, cool. I got the same amount of interaction as I did if I didn't pay you.
And then you don't get no subscribers.
You just fucking you gave me fake numbers.
It's like someone saying, "Hey, you're really good."
Exactly. I think we got one interaction. One interaction. A guy posted. This is fucking amazing. This guy posted a photo on our page of shit, like like a pile of shit, and he goes, "Because you paid Facebook to put this shit on my timeline, I'm returning the favor and putting the shit on." And I said, "I fucking love you." I comment. I said, "You're
Guilty.
I said, "You're the best. You're the
That's
fucking
great.
best." Yeah. So I was like, I'm not paying Facebook to flood people. Like,
Yeah.
share it if you see it on your timeline, you like it. Take a second and fucking show some support, because everyone's quick to fucking jump on social media and argue and fight with each other over politics and all that other fucking bullshit. And then you're the first ones to cry, be like, why don't we help small business and small arts and people trying to do cool things? But then you fucking go and argue about who their fucking president is. Suck a dick, support your people, put up or shut up. That's my fucking rant.
Also, there's nothing wrong with sucking dick for people that are.
No. So listen, I'm personally a fan of
I don't wanna
receiving.
say it as a negative thing. I watched that podcast and they said I'm an asshole for sucking dick.
No, listen. If you suck dick, do it.
Go ahead.
People in the
Do it all
world
you
need
want.
it, and people in the world love receiving it.
People need it.
It is much needed.
Oh my god.
Don't support us and share.
This
Go-
show has been brought to you by Blowjob.
Yeah, go
And
get
now snow.
go receive.
I was
our
going to do
card.
my plugs, but now I'm not
We're
sure if I
off
want
the
to.
rails. Poor Brian. Brian, pick us back up here.
Brian,
Do
tell
your
us your
own.
favorite
Oh, well,
blowjob
I
story.
can't really pick
No.
up. ProjectHumanoid.com is where all my non-Tornado Tag podcasts are happening. Murder My Dude is going to be, this is our week off. We're bi-weekly. Next week, we're talking about an old story with a sitcom star who was stalked and murdered.
Cool.
Just
I
a little
don't
teaser there.
Interesting.
That'll be that'll be next week.
Next week. All right. So projecthumanoid.com. Go check out all their content. They do a great job. Brian's fantastic at what he does. And go support that. They also have merch pages and websites and all that
I
fun
am
stuff.
so good at what I do that I couldn't be there in person out of abundance of caution, but the head of the table is empty symbolically.
Yes. Yeah. No one's allowed to sit at the head of the table. Our tribal chief is not here. So that chair I even put the microphone on the chair so it couldn't be sat in. Our chief is not here. Merch coming soon. We'll see you guys
people are chomping at the bit to buy that.
Listen, once I get my money situated and figured out, that is definitely going to be done as a special print.
People bought that Hook shirt and it sucks.
I think we have cool art.
I do like to consider myself the Hook of podcasting.
You 100% are. And on that note, we'll see you guys next time. Tornado Tech Podcast. We're out of here.
Bye-bye.